314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
How to make America healthy again. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The first report from the MAHA Commission is out, with Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. pointing to 4 things he says are fueling chronic childhood disease.
It lays out the roadmap that RFK Jr. thinks federal agencies can use to reduce chronic childhood illnesses in this country. And the top of the list of problems is a poor diet. This report found that up to 70% of food that most children consume contains ultra-processed ingredients.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House. The report also cites lack of physical activity and chronic stress, over-prescribing of medicines, and chemical exposures. The report orders a study on pesticides. California's plan to ban the sale of gas-powered vehicles by the year 2035 hits a roadblock in Congress. The U.S. Senate passing resolutions to roll back the state's emission standards, with Republicans arguing they limit consumer choice. Democrats say Republicans are trampling on state rights. Bipartisan outrage in Washington over last night's deadly shooting outside a Jewish museum that killed a young Jewish couple. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
The sickening, cold-blooded murder of 2 Jewish staffers from the Israeli embassy seems to be another horrific incident of anti-Semitism, which we all know is much too rampant in our society.
The suspect shouting "Free Palestine" as he was arrested. President Trump says hatred and radicalism have no place in the U.S. A Michigan prosecutor just announcing that a police officer will not face a second trial for killing a black motorist who was shot in the back of the head after a traffic stop confrontation in Grand Rapids. The officer claimed self-defense, saying Patrick LaLoya had control of his taser. The first jury deadlocked. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-bill.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Cool temperatures to start the day on this Thursday with a mix of clouds and sunshine. It stays breezy from the northwest. Only 68 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy and chilly. 49 for the overnight low. Friday, sunny and mild, 69. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, clouds control with periods of showers and a couple of thunderstorms. Not raining all the time, and it's cool in the 60s. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If it's time for new windows, there's only one place to call. That is Window World. Mark Cox here. Call my friends at Window World at 314-993-1800 for your free estimate today. If you have any questions, they'll be glad to send someone out to explain all of it to you. You can even schedule right online at windowworldstl.com. You know, there's a lot of high-interest financing out there, but here's what Window World's doing. Right now, they're offering 18 up to 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. You can't beat that. You also get a lifetime warranty that covers all of the parts, the glass breakage, and labor. Who else stands behind their product like that? Over half the appointments Window World will set this year are from previous customers or referrals from those customers. That is a testimony to their customer service, their quality, and their commitment to creating loyal customers. That's what you get with Window World. Call them at 314-993-1800, windowworldstl.com.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Well, if you're looking to list your home or if you're looking to buy a home, maybe you're relocating here in the St. Louis area, Missouri or Illinois, you need the very best to make sure that process is one that is smooth, that is manageable, that is going to be done to get you the top dollar and make sure that everything is positioned in a way for an absolute successful process. Realty is something that you can't really, the first time you go hire a realtor, if you lose time on listing your home, if you list it with somebody who isn't an expert, if you list it with somebody who doesn't have the professional full-time experience to apply to it, you're going to lose a lot of time and afraid probably money. The Dittamore Group. The Dittamore Group, the Dittamore Group. Online at thedittamore.group.com. These are the experts you need. The number one team in the number one office in the Metro East. When you work with the Dittamore Group to list your home, when you work with the Dittamore Group to find your next home, you will be enlisting immediately from day one, from minute one of that partnership, the very best in the business to make sure that process, that you have an advocate for you. Here's the number to call, 618-531-4652. Call the Dittamore Group at 618-531-4652 or listen to them or go to them online, I should say, at thedittamore.group.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
We knew we had to prevent a massive tax increase, so we put it in the bill. We knew we needed to secure America's border, as President Trump ran on all across this country and won the election on, and we put it in this bill. We ran on and said we would produce more American energy, and we put it in this bill. All the things that we knew we needed to do to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in government. Focus on those families who are struggling. All of that is in this one big, beautiful bill. And yes, now the House has come together and passed this bill against all odds, but we're still working on the rest of the process. Still goes to the Senate. Senate has a lot of work to do too. That's why we've been talking to the Senate for a long time, but it's their turn to take this bill and move forward. But I'll tell you, none of this would be possible without the leadership of President Trump, who every step of the way not only laid out the vision, ran a campaign on this vision, but every step of the way too said, whatever you need, let me know. And he was there to help us.
Steve Scalise, the House Majority Leader, representative there, talking about the passage of this bill. What was it, like 3:15 in the morning when they passed this bill?
It was somewhere between 1 and 3.
I think it finally passed at about 3 something. But guys, listen, if you want to like live a college life, the rules meeting, 1 a.m. the night before, passing bills at 3:15. This is party town.
Yeah, chalupas.
What?
Well, that's what we did at 1 a.m.
Chalupas?
Yeah, we did big chalupa
Brian's
runs.
got Taco Bell
That's
on the
not.
brain.
I'm not alone in that. Come on. We would go do a chalupa run, then we'd pass a bill.
It's just really specific. And honestly, I can think of groups that I was hanging out with at 2 a.m. during college, and we probably would try to pass bills. That's not really. I don't know.
Student government.
Yeah. No, I never was in student government, but yeah, that's the type of life you lead as a House representative. I mean, it's party all the time. The fun don't stop. Now the Senate gets to do the same thing. The word is that there's not going to be any action from the Senate by the Memorial Day holiday. So this is probably going to send everybody away for Memorial Day from D.C. They'll come back and the Senate will work on it. There's speculation that it might not be able to get to the president's desk by July 4th. But I have to say, passing this on Wednesday night, early Thursday morning before the Memorial holiday, they beat their deadline of trying to get it. These types of things, it's really kind of annoying. But they always say, like, we'll do it by the Memorial holiday. And then everybody's like, oh, they should. What's so terrible about having to work, even if it's into the holiday? A lot of constituents get real worked up about people having to stay into their started vacation or time in district. One thing that I want to point out to people is that when Congress is not in Washington, D.C., they're not off. And actually, I bet it's probably harder work for a lot of these people to be in district, especially if you live in. Mike Boss told me once, I think he said that his district is like a third of the state of Illinois. So if you live in a situation like Mike Boss in some of these gerrymandered places in Illinois, I don't think Missouri. I've heard Missourians talking about gerrymandering in Missouri, and I'm like, guys, come on now. Maybe it could be better. There's always room for improvement. But if you look specifically my district in the state of Illinois, the Illinois 13 is a finger. It's like a snake that runs through every college town from here at SIUE all the way up through the University of Illinois. I've been told that they don't think that you can actually drive the whole district without having to leave the district.
Because the roads don't stay in the blue. Wow.
Which is crazy.
It is so narrow at times that I believe that.
It's also, I might add, unconstitutional. Just go read the Illinois State Constitution about how a constituency district is supposed to be drawn. They're not constitutional. But in Illinois, that just doesn't seem to matter. Anyhow, the big, beautiful bill last night passed. We asked the question. I'm glad we asked that question yesterday on the YouTube poll about whether or not you wanted to see it. I think the final number was 78% of 260 votes of you folks. 78% of you said that you wanted to just get Trump's bill passed. And there were 13% of you who said that you wanted them to continue to fight for more cuts. Ryan, you were a very strong advocate of that. You said Chip Roy wasn't going to let you down. Chip Roy voted for this thing. But what people like Ryan, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are wanting a more fiscally conservative, deficit-reducing effort to be made. This goes to the Senate. That still very much could happen. It's very possible that the House said, we're not going to do this, but they know that the Senate is going to be able to get things done that they couldn't get it done in the House to pass. You pass it in the House, you send it over to the Senate, they modify it. It has to come back to the House to pass their version. And maybe they think, once we get it back from the Senate with some of those modifications in it, that maybe that's how they end up getting some of those cuts that they didn't want to burden with such a small majority in the House, those representatives. The SALT consideration went from $10,000. That's a state and local tax write-off. Illinois folks, talking to you. You can go check my X timeline from yesterday. I am a blue state Republican, and I do not want them to use our states to punish the rest of the country because we can't figure out how to elect fiscally responsible leaders in our state. We should not. I understand the benefit for it, but I don't think it's good fiscal policy. I'll put it that way. But it went from $10,000 to $40,000 last night. And also the Medicaid work requirements. These are the two of the big concessions that were put in place. The Medicaid work requirements were supposed to go into effect yesterday when we wrapped the show in 2029. Last night they negotiated that it would go into effect in 2026. We'll see how that ends up shaping up in the Senate. Those things, don't hold your breath on any of this stuff because the Senate can take this thing and change it to the way they're comfortable passing it. And then the House, that's just the way this works. But nonetheless, they were able to get the votes. They got it by one vote. They had one person who sat out and voted president, two people who voted against it, and they were able to get it across the finish line. Ryan, are you disappointed in Chip Roy for not Because if Chip Roy would have voted against this bill, it wouldn't have passed.
I'm not disappointed in him. I think he is a standard bearer in a way, and he said some of the things even that you were saying that, hey, maybe that he's looking to the Senate to maybe start rounding off the edge of this thing. I'm glad to hear that from him because I from what I've seen from the Senate, they seem to be less fiscally responsible than the House, but. Okay, we'll see.
Not some of the holdouts, though.
Well, Rand Paul certainly is.
Yeah, but Rand Paul and Thomas Massie, they cancel each other out.
Yeah, they're on their own plane.
You got the Josh Hawleys that have been kind of vocal about certain things. Now, Josh Hawley's up for re-election next year. Is that right?
No, I don't think so.
No? I thought Hawley was up.
I can look again.
Well, you don't do that right. Why don't you look up?
He just got elected.
Yeah, I think he did too.
Well, so you do have people who are actively trying to pursue those cuts in the Senate, but the people that are on the moderate to left of not left of center, but very much in the moderates, the Susan Collins and Murkowski's, you can write those people off on one end, and you can write Rand Paul off on another end.
Yeah.
So
we'll see, but there is. If you really want to hear me being upset at the deficit, go back and listen to yesterday's podcast at 1:45, and I was spouting off about how much I hate the fact that we're not even talking about getting spending to zero. We're still actually increasing the deficit. I'm going to put a positive spin on that today, though, and say, okay, it has passed, and I'll say this. The Democrats' version of a bill, a spending bill, was putting us $2 trillion extra in debt every year. This version puts us $416 billion more into debt every year, which is a lot less, but it's still debt. So it's not what I would like, but it's like a step in the right direction. But I always say step in the right direction is good, but we're never really getting to the fullness of the goal line. So I'm really mixed.
So we
on
were
this.
going into how many trillion in debt?
$2 trillion a year under the former
$2 trillion
bill.
a year under the former bill, and now it's
$416 billion a year, which is a lot less.
Yeah, that's like 7/8.
It also, like I was saying yesterday, and I think it's really important. There is an ideological way to approach all of this economic. This is so massive, it's to the point where the people who are actually participating in making this thing. There are so many compartments of people who are working on a big bill like this that it all has to come together. I don't really know that there's anyone. I don't know if Mike Johnson could speak to every facet of this bill. And he's the Speaker of the House. But he's implementing different people in different sections. For instance, Mike Bost, who is right here in our listening area. A lot of you folks in the Southern Illinois portion of our listenership know that he's the chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee, and he's made many commitments to me specifically on the show, but publicly, about how, they're going to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. And the Veterans Affairs Department doesn't exist for the Veterans Affairs Department. It has to exist for the betterment and the service to those veterans who are in our country. And if there's waste, fraud, and abuse in that department, why the heck wouldn't you cut it? Now, if you're going to cut waste, fraud, and abuse out of the Veterans Affairs Department, and then the left's going to go, how dare they? Then, I would say fly that flag high. Mm-hmm. Just keep saying what you're going to say. I think the American people, in a much more participatory way right now, are understanding here's what the Republicans are trying to do, and here's what the Democrats are trying to do. And what the Democrats are trying to do is make you believe that Donald Trump is a failure, is a villain. That's the end goal. I continue to, gosh, when you hear people like Hakeem Jeffries or some of the people who speak the most on behalf of the Democrat Party or the Democrat elected officials, when they talk about how terrible things are right now, it doesn't take any extra research to understand that gas prices are down, that egg prices are down, that military recruiting, people are wanting to sign up for the military right now when they weren't before, that deportations, I think in some cases deportations are down over what they've been before, because we have not even in the tens of people crossing the southern border in a day that have to be turned around and sent back to their home.
Right, immediate deportation.
Yes. So the actual the actuality of what this administration has done, it falls right into place. It's synchronous with the promises that Donald Trump made in his campaign. You know, I remember going back to, I say this like this happened so long ago. I think the president has been president again for 122 days. But when Elon Musk got in there and started doging all over the place, and the left was like, President Elon Musk, can you believe? And nobody, literally, I know zero people who are in the middle, the moderate, the center, or anybody who is right of that, who is a known conservative, who saw Elon Musk doing what he was doing and is like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, I know zero people. I know people on the far left who like pushed that President Elon Musk, the real president here. Guys. Elon Musk was hooting and hollering and skipping around on rally stages next to Joe Biden next to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump was going to put him in charge of cutting overspending, fraud, waste, and abuse in all these departments. He made that commitment to the American people. There was no shadow Elon Musk. He was not lurking in the background. He was spending, was it 3 figures of millions of dollars for this campaign? Over $100 million to make sure that Donald Trump was able to get elected, because Donald Trump said he was going to be out there. People, this makes me so crazy. We had Democrats, after Donald Trump got elected, telling us that there was a shadow president. This pisses me off. This makes me so crazy. That the Republicans, the person who they elected, isn't actually running the presidency. What the actual fudge brownie are you talking about when you can't look me in the eye and say that this is something that we should be pulling our hair out about? That brings me to the poll question. Is Joe Biden a victim? Now, some of you just fell off your chair. I'll give you time to get back up. Get into your chair. I hope you weren't driving. That would be bad.
If you fell out of your chair and you're driving, why don't you just turn the radio off?
You're sitting in the Arby's drive-thru.
You don't deserve to
you
have
opened
this
the
on.
door and just went bloop. Did you hear what Annie Fry just said? Is Joe Biden a victim? I want you to think about that for a second. And we're going to talk about this throughout the course of the show. If Joe Biden is an old, senile man, and he had no idea what was being done around him, and a lot of you understand what old and senile looks like because you've lived it with people who are in your life. What if you didn't love your family member? What if you did to Joe Biden what Jill and Hunter Biden might have done, or what the Democrat Party might have done? Is it possible that Joe Biden is a victim? I gave you an option in this poll today that I don't normally give. Is Joe Biden a victim? Yes, no, or possibly. So I'm giving you the opportunity to kind of peek around the corner and say, I'd like to know more. I'd like to know more about what's happening here. And it's an interesting conversation to have. This might be 99% yes or no and 1% yes. Because I know some people out there who might suggest that he's a victim. But I need to know what you think. But this will be a great day for you to get on the Annie Fry YouTube channel and leave a comment as to why you did. You might be mad that I even suggested he could be a victim. But I want to hear from you as well. Annie Fry YouTube channel, let us know what you think. When we come back, Hans von Spakovsky is going to update us on the legal protections that were in place for 350,000 Venezuelans. What did the Supreme Court say about Trump wanting to strip those legal protections from 350,000 Venezuelans? Well, they ruled on it, and Hans is going to give us that information on the Annie Fry Show when we come back.
I just wanna keep calling your name until you come back home. I just wanna keep calling your name until you come back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I'm sitting eyes wide open and I got one thing stuck in my mind. Wondering if I dodged a bullet or just lost the love of my life. Oh, baby, I feel crazy up all night and every day.
Okay, Air Comfort Service. Yeah, I'm always talking to you about Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and air conditioning for an installation, I should say, about what they can do for the HVAC in your house. But I got to shift gears here a little bit. They understand right now how many people locally here have been affected by these recent storms here in the St. Louis area. Air Comfort Service is using this time to step in and help those folks. So I want you to listen up. They can do this. These storms, you know how it goes. They do a ton of damage to your HVAC system. Obviously, problems with wind damage, power outages, falling trees, hail can become a major problem because the AC unit is outside. So it's going to get wrecked. It's a problem. And Air Comfort Service is here to tell you that they're going to do something to help. If you have storm damage or you think you might have storm damage, I'm imploring you right now, give Air Comfort Service a call, 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. I've trusted Air Comfort Service in my house for my whole HVAC system, and that was without this, terrible storm situation being involved. Make sure you get your AC looked at immediately for an insurance claim. This is the key part here, and make sure that lingering issues don't follow you through the summer. If you have storm damage and you are going to need to talk to your insurance, or maybe you would never even know that it was from the storm, you can file that insurance claim and potentially save yourself a ton of money out of your own pocket. aircomfortservice.com/storm. That's where you need to go. Go to aircomfortservice.com/storm.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You care about every detail, and so does Purina. Every ingredient in their pet food comes from trusted sources, and every ingredient has a purpose. Whether that purpose is to provide just the right nutrients your pet needs or a flavor they will love, Purina has over 250 recipes made without artificial flavors or preservatives for you to choose from. You're sure to find something both you and your pet will love. Learn more at purina.com/Purina Cares.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Now that she's
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
She acts like summer and walks like rain. Reminds me that there's a time to change. Since the return of a stay on the moon, she listens like spring and she talks like June.
Supreme Court backs Trump on ending temporary protected status for 350,000 Venezuelans. So and they can be deported now. They're not protected. They can be deported. That's a nice win for the president, is it not?
It's a huge win, Larry. I've been to Colombia, where all the Venezuelans were coming across back in the day when we're having 3,000 to 5,000 people come through the Darien Gap up to the United States of America. It was a disaster, and we did not get the good ones. A lot of the Venezuelans stopped in Colombia. They took 3 million themselves. But the ones that really didn't want to stay, they pushed them right on out. They came up through the Darien Gap, and now they're here in the United States of America, and we are in trouble in a lot of our cities because they do not go by American laws.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
Your form of our perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
Well, the Supreme Court ruling that Trump can strip legal protections from 350,000 Venezuelans is, according to the senator there, Tuberville, a big deal. We welcome Hans von Spakovsky back onto the show. Hans, how do you feel about this ruling from the Supreme Court? Any surprise to you, or you think they got it right?
No, I think they got it exactly right. They stayed one of those nationwide injunctions again by a district court judge, and it was the proper ruling because if you look at the statute, what they're talking about is that immigration law gives a president the ability, particularly, for example, when natural disasters occur, to give temporary immigration status to aliens coming into the U.S. Probably the best example of that is when a big hurricane hit Haiti. We've had presidents like Bill Clinton allow large numbers of Haitians to come into the country on a temporary basis until things could be rectified, in the country they're from, and then the temporary status ends and they are no longer legally allowed in the country. And if you look at the statute, this is all totally within the discretion of who? The president. So for a federal judge to come in and say, oh, well, you can't do that was, frankly, a ridiculous decision, but one also not based on the law. And I think the fact that the Supreme Court, on an emergency basis, stayed that lower court's decision, that tells you that they pretty much agree with that.
Hans, first, I don't know if this is like just so fun for you as somebody who is a legal scholar to see all these Supreme Court reactions or rulings or discussions that they're having to have with the Trump administration, turning it up to 11. There's so much coming out. Like if my producer says to me, oh, you're going to talk to Hans about the Supreme Court ruling on immigration, I'm like, I need specifics here, because there's so much for people like me who are not like you that it's like, okay, they ruled this way. Is that good for the Trump administration? Is that bad for the Trump administration? When Donald Trump came into office, he seemed to have come very prepared to do a lot of things immediately. Like maybe he had 4 years off to think about exactly how he would do it if he had the opportunity to do it again. Do you feel as though with this immigration, the illegal immigration deportation plan, that the president came in and said, we're just going to try everything. We're going to throw everything against the wall and see what sticks? Or do you feel like with all of these different methods they've taken to remove people from the country that they do feel 100% legally sound with every action they've taken?
Oh, I think actually so far they do feel legally sound with the actions they've taken. But I also think this is that they understand. This is the president and his advisors. They understand that there was no one solution to the huge problem caused by the Biden administration, and that they had to take many steps. I mean, it was everything from closing the border to taking all kinds of actions to get all of the illegal aliens that Joe Biden allowed into the country out. And so it's not a one solution fits all. It's 100 different solutions are needed to fix this problem.
Hans von Spakovsky speaking with us right now. Do you think that they could have anticipated these activist district judges? Is that something that they would have known going in, that this is going to happen? It's going to apply to the whole kit and caboodle with these activists in these districts?
Yeah, I think they did expect it for the same reason that they experienced this in the first Trump administration. Listen, before Donald Trump came into office this time, since 1963, there have only been a little over 125 preliminary injunctions issued, nationwide injunctions issued in the entire history of the U.S. There wasn't a single one before 1963. Well, of all of those injunctions, half of them were issued during the first Trump administration. So I think they knew that they were going to be engaged in judicial warfare with the left. I got to say, though, that once these cases get out of the lower court, so far, when it comes to the U.S. Supreme Court, he's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. You know, Hans, really at the crux of, I'm kind of feeling like this at least, the crux of all of these challenges, court challenges against what Donald Trump has been trying to implement to remove, if you've got a mass illegal immigration, you're going to have a mass deportation. It's the only way to rectify that error that has taken place in the Joe Biden presidency, and even before that. At the very core of all of this, the question that I keep asking myself is, what rights do, I'm going to say it this way, undocumented immigrants, and I know that people will say, oh, no, they got to call them illegal, but I want to take it even away from that more objective position. If you are in this country and you came in here, no documentation, dead of night, through an unmanned area on the border, what rights do you have when you're in the United States?
Well, see, it depends. And when I say that, for example, if you're caught within a few miles of the border under our current law and current policy, they can turn you around and send you right back where you came from. If you're caught inside the country, again, it depends on your status. If there's a deportation order in place, in other words, you already went through the immigration court proceedings, a judge said, nope, you got no right to be in the U.S., I'm issuing a deportation order, they can pick you up anywhere, put you on a plane, and ship you out of the country. If you are here on an expired visa, like a student, you're supposed to be able to simply pick that person up because their visa has expired, put them on a plane, and ship them out of the country. It gets a little more complicated when you are, for example, a permanent resident alien, and the government's trying to remove you for other reasons. There are a whole series of crimes, for example, listed in federal immigration laws that make you almost automatically deportable. I mean, if you're convicted for murder as a permanent resident alien, if you're convicted of being a drug dealer as a permanent resident alien, the government can pretty much ship you out of the country almost automatically. So again, it depends a lot on what kind of alien you are, what your status is exactly.
Is there a real? I've even said this before. It's kind of a political talking point. I believe it, but you could totally dispel what I've said before. The Democrat Party, the activists there in the Democrat Party, due process. They're obsessed with due process right now. And I'm thinking about the people who were arrested, detained, and held after the January 6th situation. Now, I heard a lot of people on the right talking about due process when it comes to the J6ers. Is there a conflict? Is there any sort of hypocrisy in the people who are wanting due process for these illegal immigrants where they weren't advocating for it for the people who were arrested, detained, and charged on January 6th?
Well, yeah, there is a lot of hypocrisy, but the biggest thing that critics of the Trump administration, the biggest mistake they're making is they're confusing criminal prosecutions with civil matters. And the easiest way to understand that is, look, if you're being criminally prosecuted by the U.S. government, you are entitled to the full constitutional due process rights given to any criminal defendant. For example, the famous Miranda rights, right? When you're arrested, the cops have to tell you you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to say anything. You have entitled to a lawyer. That is required under our Constitution, according to the Supreme Court, for anybody being criminally prosecuted. But immigration proceedings, they're not criminal cases. The Supreme Court has said that on multiple occasions. They're just a civil case. And so, for example, when an ICE agent, when they go in and they arrest and detain an illegal alien, they do not have to say to them, oh, here's your Miranda warning. You don't have to say anything. You can remain. They don't have to do that. Not only that, but unlike in criminal cases, the government does not have to provide an illegal alien with a lawyer. So they're confusing civil cases with criminal cases, and your due process rights in a civil case, particularly in immigration, is extremely limited.
Hans, are you telling me the people on the internet don't know what they're talking about?
Yes, I am.
My goal is to never be one of those people. I know I'm not batting 1,000, but that's always the goal. It's why we have experts like you to get to the bottom of what's really actual factual. Hans, thanks for being with us. We love you. Appreciate you being with us.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye. When he was talking about, you're familiar with Miranda rights, are you? Ryan, I go, I'm not, but Ryan is. That was in my head, and I took the pitch.
Good, because we wouldn't have recovered.
I know. No.
Just keep it on track.
I knew it was going to derail
America's
the whole
coming
thing.
up next. Let's just keep it all there.
I was just like, I wonder if Ryan's listening right now. There's a way to test that. But
Oh, there is a way to test that.
I didn't say it. I want credit for that. This is like this is a Ryanism. You telling me
What,
something?
this moment?
Yes, I'm doing what you do. I didn't do and say this mean thing to you on the air, and I'm telling you now publicly so that so I get a point.
I think that you somehow turned that still into an insult.
How?
By saying I'm doing something that's bad, but it's really something you do.
Isn't that what you do though?
Oh, absolutely. I don't deny that.
Well, just own it. You're great at it.
I will own it, and I'll own it for the next 20 minutes.
Which, this is a perfect segue into what Wiggins America is.
These are phrases that women use.
This is how you know it's going to be good.
That may not mean what it should mean on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got multiple pages of these.
Okay.
I'm going to present them to you one by one and see if you can tell me what they mean compared to what the consensus says it means.
What's the source?
I said multiple,
No,
but New York Post would be the top one.
That New York Posted? Okay. Not Career Addict.
Not Career Addict,
It's
although
like,
I'm not above that.
How to talk. This is CareerAddict.com. How to talk to your woman boss. That's not really Career Addict. Don't
That's
come at
tomorrow.
me. That was just a joke. All right, let's take a quick break, and I will interpret for Ryan all those things that women say that they don't really mean, and the things they
There's
don't
some
say
deep cuts in
that
here,
they
I'm
really
telling
do
you.
mean. I wonder if I'll know. I wonder if I'll understand. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
STS-armory.com. I want you to understand how comfortable you should feel walking into STS Armory. Now, a lot of you listening right now, you are very comfortable with firearms. You've been around them. You understand them. You know how to be a responsible owner with them. But there are a lot of people listening right now who might, for the first time, maybe recently, you've been thinking like, you know what, I'd like to have a way to protect myself in my home. I'd like to be able to protect myself on my person. And there is an opportunity for you at STS Armory to do that, to learn. A lot of people go and get their conceal and carry license, and then they don't end up carrying all of the time. But if you can't do it if you don't have it. And if it's something that you've been considering, you will gain and glean so much information when you go to STS Armory, because they have these classes, and you learn from Katie and Jesse, and you get yourself in a position to, after you have moved into the place where you do feel responsible and comfortable with the matter, you've already at least got that licensure. You got to do it in the state of Illinois to carry, and I want you to go to the very best instructors who are going to make you feel comfortable and responsible with that task when you go to STS Armory. Call them at 618-931-GUNS and schedule your appointment, 618-931-GUNS, sts-armory.com.
The Diamond Shop graduation sale. All watches are 20% off, even Movado. Men's jewelry is 40% off, 40% off Pirelli G and gold fashion jewelry. Everything else is 30% off. The Diamond Shop.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Is Joe Biden a victim? That's today's YouTube live chat poll. There are, of course, options here. Yes, possibly, or no. We gave you the possibly option today, but we want to know a little bit more about why you would choose one of those options. So leave a comment. You find the poll and the live stream all together by going to YouTube and typing in Annie Fry. It is 12:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Thursday afternoon, two of my favorite political pundits, Charles Lipson from the University of Chicago, Dwayne Patterson, who writes at hotair.com. It all starts at 3.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! All right, these are a bunch of phrases that women use toward men, on men, you could say.
We'll see about that.
And they don't always mean what they sound like. I'm going to run them by the room, mainly Annie, to find out if this phrase means what I would think it would mean.
Which of you three boys do you think is best at communicating and understanding women?
Ethan.
I think I would lean that way too. I think it would be Ethan.
I think me and Brad are just kind of nerds.
We just know that we're not good at it.
Yeah, we know we're not very good at it, and you seem like
sounds to me, Ethan, like you won by default.
We're playing the odds here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have said Ethan too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love winning things.
All right, then let's ask these questions first of Ethan.
Okay.
When a woman says, "I don't," okay, and by the way, there's two different categories here. The first one I'm going to go with is single women talking to men. Okay. The second one is married women talking to their husbands.
Okay.
This category, single women.
Are you really talking to Ethan now?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to ruin our friendship. What does a woman say when she says that to a man when they're single?
I don't want to ruin our friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I know this one.
Well, she's looking for an easy excuse out of to not have to date them.
Confirmed.
Yes, that is correct. That's an easy.
I heard that.
Guys,
one a
I know
lot.
you don't want to hear it, but take it because you don't want to hear what she has to say to make it direct.
Well, the
You don't wanna
article
hear
here
that.
says, "I'm not attracted to you, but you are my friend, and I don't want to hurt your feelings."
So if you say, I don't want to ruin our friendship, and they're like, it won't ruin our friendship. It's like, yes, it will because I don't like you.
Yeah. There's no coming back from.
No.
I don't want to ruin our friendship.
I know that you don't think
I
it would
value
ruin
you
your
as a
friendship.
friend.
I know you want to be lifelong friends.
Yes. The friend zone. All right, next one. So if you're talking to somebody when you're dating and they text you back because they're not texting you enough, I'm just really bad at texting.
No, they're not. They're not really bad at texting. They just
is
don't
this
want to respond to
dating?
you.
This is still dating.
They're not bad at texting you.
No, I don't think that necessarily means that.
What do you think it means?
It might mean that they're bad at texting. I'm bad at texting.
Not in this situation. If you're trying to avoid someone.
Somebody you like.
Well, if this is the predicate. Well, I'll defer to Ethan. I don't really know what we're doing here. Go on.
That was the first. The first steps in separating yourself from someone that you were talking to was kind of lengthening out the time between messages that you would send.
Distance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's exactly right. He's exactly right again.
Yeah, hit that bell.
It says, I'm not really interested, and I'm only responding to be polite, trying to create some distance where we maybe were a little closer.
Yup.
How about this one? I don't post who I date on social media. So this is after you've started dating. You've started dating, and they say, no, I don't post who I date on social media.
This is a red flag, in my opinion. And what I think that this means is you're trying to keep your prospects open if you were to, break up with that person or to keep the interest from other guys or perhaps other females as well, I guess.
As the expert, Ethan,
Mm-hmm.
any contrary view there, female in the room? She's Googling it.
Oh, no, I'm talking to the chat. I want to talk to somebody.
No?
I don't know what you asked.
I don't post who I date on social media means, correct, I don't want people to know we're dating, at least not yet, which is a red flag.
No, that's not what that means.
What do you think it means?
It might mean I don't post. If you don't want people to, it doesn't have to be personal.
Are you keeping your options open, though?
Me? No, I'm married.
But if you're saying that to a potential partner, I don't post who I date on social media, are you still keeping your options open?
How many people back when we dated and you could literally put a status up on your Facebook profile were committed to each other before you decided to put it on Facebook as a committed situation? A lot. That's another step. That doesn't mean, I don't know what Ethan said about this, but that doesn't, I'm not saying it can't mean I'm not interested in people knowing that you're dating it, but you can't just infer that that's what that means. That sucks.
See, here's the thing.
That means that women can't say what they mean.
Here's the thing. You're thinking way too highly of today's generation.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not really familiar with the dating scene in 2025. So you are. Continue to ask Ethan.
How about married? Okay, let's go to the other camp of phrases here. These are phrases that a married woman would use to her husband.
Now, these I may be a little more familiar with, but you can ask Ethan about these too.
Fine.
There's a little bit of slight in the room right now.
Yeah, I'm ticked.
Is everything fine, Annie?
It really depends on the context. I mean, I'm just going to say initially, it's patently offensive to think that women never say what they mean. Because if you say fine, 100% the tone dictates whether or not it's fine or it is not, in fact, fine.
So
and every man knows that, and every woman knows it when she says it.
It's the tone.
It's
fine
all tone.
means I dare you.
Annie, are things fine in this room right now?
I'm pretty comfortable being direct, so.
So. Okay. How about
Ryan has 4.5 minutes to stick the landing.
Speaking of which, the next one, 5 minutes. I just need 5 minutes. If a woman says that,
that means I'm going as fast as I can.
Okay. But it definitely should not be interpreted as actual 5 minutes.
No, it's like dog ears.
Absolutely it is.
Are you actually multiplying by 7?
Depends on the person. I think this, see, for me, if I think I could literally be done in 5 minutes, I am going to say, I'm not going to give a time constraint. There's a huge difference between being married for almost 20 years and not. But if you're saying 5 minutes, especially if you're in the dating scene, that means I'm not ready yet, and I'm going as fast as I can.
We had a good conversation about this a couple of weeks ago where I asked you about, how do I navigate this in a new marriage? The whole timing thing. Hey, we got to be leaving by this time. How long till you're ready? And I've been implementing that a little bit.
Has it worked?
We're getting there. We're getting better.
The key
is getting better.
You're in that conversation, Ethan. You said that you hate being late, right?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. It kind of depends on the thing.
But it agitates you,
right? Yeah.
And things that that agitate you will turn into bigger things. When something else happens, you'll be like, and another thing, and it'll be this, and another. But the important thing is to communicate to your significant other that you hate being late, and then to plan to be there. However much she adds to her 5 minutes, if it's 20 minutes, plan to be there 20 minutes early. And then when you're when you are there on time because you plan to be there 20 minutes early. You did what you had to do to make each other successful.
This is good. This is good wisdom, and there's a lot of the reason there's a lot of wisdom here is because you're a woman also, just like my wife is. So you get it.
Yeah. And also, nothing that I just said there did I really mean. Ethan or Ryan?
Whoa. And I'm back at square one.
What did she mean?
All right.
You'll never know
confused.
because I'm a female.
I'm so confused.
It's really tough when they laugh afterwards because then you're like,
was that a real
Speaking
laugh?
of unrelated but related, in the 2 o'clock hour, I'm going to talk about watching Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure last night. Go on.
That is unrelated.
No, it's not. You said when she laughs afterwards. The whole movie is him going, the whole movie.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I watched it last night. And my kids watched it like we saw something from another planet. Anyway, go on.
Go ahead. So if you ask permission and your wife says, go ahead.
Go ahead means, in the context that they're saying, like, because you could say, hey, I'd like to go golfing on Saturday. I could go, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you had some more words in there.
Yeah, she also added fine.
No, I could say, go ahead. And Mike, again.
Ooh,
I don't know.
If it's just go ahead, I heard that and I went, oh, wait a minute.
That's a good point.
If a woman cannot say to you, go ahead, and if a woman says that to you, and you automatically assume that your wife has some underlying vindictive message behind go ahead, then you need to go to therapy with your wife.
That's a learned behavior, though.
I feel like it's too choice of words to where if it was actually okay, they would say a different selection of words.
No, what I'm saying is a woman should be able to say go ahead, and you can't automatically hear that and assume she means I dare you. It's about context. I'm absolutely not saying that if she says go ahead, that she's not saying you're going to be in the biggest trouble of your life if you go golf. I'm not saying that she's not implying that, but I'm not saying that 100% of the time, if she says go ahead, can you infer that she's not saying what she means? The context matters. It is not 100% of the times that go ahead means don't you dare.
Could we say it's 98%?
I guess it depends on your wife.
Can guys get the benefit of the doubt at least if they hear just go ahead and at least kind of doing a double taking, making sure that it isn't good, like everything's good?
I think that if you hear just go ahead or go ahead, if you hear that from your wife and you suspect that she doesn't mean it, that you have an honest follow-up conversation to be like, all right, because listen, if you're saying that you want to skip your kid's soccer game in the morning and make her go take her kid to the soccer game because you want to go golf, and she's like, go ahead.
Totally.
You're a dummy and you deserve what's coming to you. If she says, if she's like, hey, I was thinking about going to get a pedicure in the morning, would you care about that? And he goes, well, yeah, I was thinking about maybe going golfing. And she goes, go ahead. And you say, okay, I just want to make sure that go ahead means go ahead and you're cool with that. There's nothing wrong. Like, picking up on the worst construction on what people say and not talking about it is how the little things become really big things, and you're fighting about something because obviously there's tension and dissension in the relationship for something that has nothing to do with golfing and pedicures and soccer games. I just think like open communication. You can't just be like go ahead means don't. You can't do that. It's not a healthy. That is just putting women in a box where their words never mean what they say. Now, it is complicated, and like the whole point of what I'm saying is context matters. And yes, women will say things that don't mean what they say. Anyway, we got a break. Tyrus, when we come back, Will Chamberlain as well. Don't go away.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan are looking to help you navigate these crazy times. I feel like the mortgage industry right now and mortgage rates are constantly in the news, and you're looking at it going like, do I go in, do I go out? It's like trying to jump into a revolving door. What do I do? Well, what you do is you call Stewie, 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. You can Google the Bagel Loan to find out more information, but you go to an expert on these issues. When you're looking to jump into the market to buy a home, to get pre-approved, what you need to do is have an expert on your side to make sure that you are, in fact, making the best decision for you. I've worked with Stewie, and sometimes he's been like, let's hold off right now, or now's the time to jump in, Annie. This is going to be a great decision for you. And I trust Stewie, and you can as well. Call him or text him directly at 314-324-4440 and ask about the Bagel Loan, where you pay $0 in closing costs to finish that new mortgage or even that mortgage refinance. 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Brady, Fox News. After the deadly shooting outside a Jewish museum in D.C. last night, leaving a young couple, 2 Israeli embassy staffers, dead. The suspect shouting "Free Palestine" as he was arrested, but the motive remains under investigation.
Elias Rodriguez is the suspect. He's the Chicago man. He's been in custody since late last night. Authorities with the FBI began talking to him in the middle of the night. We are told that he has been talkative. They're also going through some writings they believe belong to him, though they are not calling them a manifesto at this time. As for the victims, they were both soon to be engaged, according to family. Both worked for the Israeli embassy in Washington. Police say that 30-year-old killed them. We are talking about Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky. They were well-loved. People are holding makeshift memorials for them out here. This happened shortly after 9 p.m. outside this museum.
Fox's David Spond, both President Trump and top Democrats in Congress condemning anti-Semitism. The first report from the Make America Healthy Again Commission puts ultra-processed foods at the top of a list of issues contributing to a rise in chronic childhood diseases.
Going through the other main bullet points of this report, chemical exposures are a concern, with the authors ordering a study on pesticides by next year, a lack of physical activity and chronic stress, basically kids playing less outside and more on their screens inside, and then over-medicalization, they say. The authors think kids in this country are being over-prescribed drugs they don't need.
Fox's Peter Doocy at the White House, which says the report directs the entire administration to consider potential policy changes. President Trump just slamming a federal judge for ruling against the deportation of 8 criminal illegal aliens to South Sudan after the administration said their home countries refused to take them. The judge says they didn't have adequate time to challenge removal in violation of a previous order. The president says judges are out of control. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-bill.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Cool temperatures to start the day on this Thursday with a mix of clouds and sunshine. It stays breezy from the northwest. Only 68 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy and chilly. 49 for the overnight low. Friday, sunny and mild, 69. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, clouds control with periods of showers and a couple of thunderstorms, not raining all the time, and it's cool in the 60s. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Well, Ruler Foods has savings for you every day and savings for everybody every day. If you haven't found the Ruler Foods near you, go to rulerfoods.com. You can type in your zip code and you can see where your Ruler Foods might be located. All over the bi-state region, there are plenty of Ruler Foods out there. Definitely one that is located close to you, so you can bank those savings. But coming up here now, May 21st, May 26th is the official date when veterans are going to get an additional 10% off in-store purchases on Memorial Day. They want to make sure that you feel special and feel seen, and they want to pass that savings along to you in, the smallest amount of gratitude, what they can do to make sure that they acknowledge the people who have served our country. So if you are a veteran, go to Ruler Foods on Memorial Day to save an extra 10% off your purchase. If you are looking to get a delivery done, did you know you can do that from Ruler Foods as well? Just find them online at rulerfoods.com. You can schedule your delivery directly from that website, rulerfoods.com.
The Range St. Louis West is launching the countdown to 250 years of American freedom this July by giving away 5,000 rounds of 9mm ammo. 5 winners will get 1,000 rounds each, and winners are going to be drawn July 1st. Don't miss your shot. Enter now at therangestl.com/ammo. You have to be 21 or older to enter. It's open to Missouri residents and Illinois residents with a valid FOID card. No purchase necessary. therangestl.com/ammo.
Renewal by Anderson is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Find out why Renewal by Anderson has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. rbastl.com or 314-332-1924.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I think there's so much stuff going on. Of course, the big, beautiful bill passing the House last night, a shooting in front of the Jewish embassy. 2 people just killed dead. Why? Because they're Jewish in the United States of America. Somebody else free Palestine afterwards. This is happening right now in our country. It's a very important moment, and I'm very grateful that we have somebody in charge in the administration who, like we played that clip a little bit earlier this week, he said this woke crap is done. He was talking about Congresswoman LaMonica Ivor, who has been charged now with assaulting federal agents at an ICE facility. This is what she had to say.
Well, I think, one, this is political intimidation from the Trump administration. I mean, me being charged is absurd, especially when I'm just there to do my job. The confusion and the chaos that you see was caused by ICE officials and Homeland Security. They created this unnecessary situation by arresting the mayor, which later they dropped the charges, as you can see, creating an unsafe environment for us as members of Congress, the mayor, and peaceful protesters that were outside of this facility. Once again, it was so unnecessary and it didn't have to be.
So Representative LaMonica Ivor there of New Jersey saying this is unnecessary, basically saying it's political. She put hands on federal officers, and the president has said this is not how we're doing things anymore. Let's see what Tyrus has to say about it.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
Well, Tyrus, welcome back to the show. LaMonica Ivor has been charged now because she put hands on a federal officer, and it kind of looks like an FAFO moment. She sort of doesn't think so. She thinks that since she's a congresswoman, she should be able to do this. What are your thoughts?
Oh, what, you talking about LaMonica hands of stone? Is that what you're talking about?
I guess.
I think it's funny. Whenever somebody commits a crime, do they ever say, you know what, in hindsight, yeah, that's on me. I need to be better. They usually get that from an athlete who's trying to save their contract after making a stupid stunt. So, yeah, when you put hands and to the level in which you put hands on someone like that, and there's video of it, you just have to kind of giggle when they try to, like, convince you that's not what happened.
Yeah.
You know, but if I ever decide to put hands on somebody that I disagree with or try to show out in front of a camera, I'll have to remember to say, well, he put his face in my fist. You can clearly see that I put my fist out to stop him, and his face ran right into my fist. And he's lucky I don't sue because I might possibly have metacarpal damage. It hurts when I type on my computer.
Man, you're good at this.
So I guess I could sue. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean...
Do you feel like we as a country have gotten used to, I mean, obviously what she was trying to do in there, she got what she wanted, attention. She created a scene. The Democrats thrive in chaos. They wanted the attention, and you create a scene like that, and then the eyes of the country look at you maybe for 15 minutes or so. She got what she wanted, and have we created a culture now in this country where, especially Democrats, they get away with this type of behavior?
No, we didn't create it. That's why when they were doing it during the woke Iden years, which is funny because he was never awake, during those years, they didn't prosecute the ones who did. So they set their own rules. And then an adult showed up. And now the things that they were able to do before, i.e. loot, burn down buildings, destroy a whole city, police precinct, men walking up, punching women in the back of the head, pushing them off subways, and then being out of bail. And an hour and a half later, a husband beats up his wife, is arrested, and then is released and goes back. And then I think there was one story where he killed her for calling the police on him. So they set this pace, and now the adults are in the room. And this is normal because the average American, if you ask them, hey, what would happen if you walked up, picked up someone, threw them on the ground or hit them? They'd go, oh, my ass will go to jail.
Yeah.
So they tried to change culture, and we had what I would affectionately like to call is a pause reset. We said, hold up, wait a minute, oh hell no, that's not how it's going to be. So and they should throw the book at her because they're always the ones talking about the oppressed and the government and privilege. Well, they've had woke privilege, and she's trying to use woke black privilege like she was oppressed, so that's why she attacked people. So again, it's just a return to the norm. So it's always been there. They just found a way to get around it with corrupt, nuts, liberal attorney generals and governors who will let their cities burn to hell so they can march with people who are gaming the system for free federal funding. Doge is taking away their ability to launder money to their various groups and family members. So we're seeing a correction. And it's a correction to what every one of us have to follow rules. I would love to settle my debates with Gutfeld with a right cross. I would never lose an argument on that show.
I think you'd only ever have one argument. There'd be one argument.
We'd have a half of one. Yes, one. And then I would remind him all the time.
Yeah.
I would have a T-shirt of me hitting him. But I'm saying that's not acceptable behavior.
You can probably create an AI image of
another Emmy for punching a guest who disagreed with him. And I come up, I'd like to thank God, I'd like to thank my family, I'd like to thank my boxing trainer. We just got to do the work. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And excuse me, Tyrus, your time is up. Excuse me? Wow. That's for cutting my time.
You're listening to Tyrus, a regular on Gutfeld, of course, Fox News contributor. His book is out right now. Enough said. You've got so many things going at one time, Tyrus. You mentioned the word woke earlier, and this is something I haven't heard this conversation as much from the lefties that we have in a regular participation in our live chat during the show. But there'd always be this what is woke? What does that word even mean? What do you think woke set out to be? And maybe 10,
Nobody
15
knows
years
what it
in?
means. It's provocative.
What is it?
Nobody knows what it means. It's provocative. Woke is past tense for you were asleep when you should have been alert. It's again, we're returning to norm, and you have to use the words as they were explained in the Webster's Dictionary, or if you want to go further back, the King George's English. So now definitions mean something again. So before, I'm woke, which means I'm aware of the bad that happened in the past. I believe that's what they were going for. But now woke is you're late, and the early bird gets the worm, and you're no longer able to create feelings as facts. So you can't create magical dragons of racism and oppression and white privilege and all the things that are great BS. Like, I don't care what color you are in this country, you're going to have hurdles. Not every white person in this country was born with 2 silver spoons and a Mercedes-Benz, so in their lives. So it's an individual achievement, and now we're getting back to everyone has problems. Everyone has people who have said things. I have a life. You have a life. You produce. Every one of us has a story. Every one of us has a rejection, a heartbreak, an injury, a scar. Some of us several scars, and that's what unites us. And it's not the color of somebody's skin that unites us. It's the shared life events that we all have that makes us a nation. So with that, I should probably run for president. I won't remember that, but that was dope. I normally don't pat myself on the back, but I'm going to stop right now and be like, I don't really. If this was on TV, I would drop the mic, pick it up again, and then drop it again.
You should do that. Tyrus running for president. You heard it right here on the Annie Fry Show. It's appropriate that it starts here. You got our vote. How do you feel the president is doing so far? He went to the Middle East last week and, did stuff over there. It was widely...
I got to be honest. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah?
I'm a little upset.
Why?
I specifically asked for 2 Arabian horses. I was pretty clear on the Gutfeld show.
First executive officer is President Tyrus.
Can I get an executive order for 2 jumping Arabians for my daughter? I'm just saying.
I think that's the only... Actually, I think that's the only thing he didn't get done over there.
Other than that, if it was in school, he would get the gold star sticker, the scratch and sniff kind that smells like strawberries. It was phenomenal. He brought trillions of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
You never had a scratch and sniff sticker?
Of course. That is a simple thing. Do our kids' generation know the pleasure?
They do not know the joy of
they know Candy Crush.
Yeah, but that's garbage.
That's no strawberry scratch and sniff.
Hey, when you got a spelling test, I said 100% with a scratch and sniff on there.
Mm-hmm.
That was like major recess collateral. Like, you could negotiate lunch snacks. I got a scratch and sniff, and the cafeteria worker would give you extra pudding.
Made you want to study spelling.
Yeah, because even spelling scratch and sniff was tough for me. But but it was phenomenal. The momentum, the country, people are excited. The opportunities are there. Inflation's down, eggs are down, gas is down. And I think the best thing is that he assembled a team of highly skilled people, regardless of religion, creed, even political affiliation. What RFK Jr. has done with Red Dye and starting to get our foods clean and have people paying attention to stuff is amazing. So you could not be happier. It's basically, he put together a band of misfits, and they're doing. It's a really good time in this country. Could things always be better? Honestly, considering where we were at this time a few years ago, I don't think we could do any better right now than we are.
He's been president for 122 days. Like, what can anybody do in 122 days?
My biggest fear is that this is going to go by. My only fear is that in about 2 years, we're going to see some really positive times in this country, and Americans will then be like, oh, we can elect anybody. And I think that's the drawback, is that what's in place for the next 4 years, who is going to take the mantle, who is going to be I think the problem is the greatness of Trump is also the fault, because no one's going to be able to live up to that on the Republican Party. Unless you save the speech I just gave.
We've got
run that.
We're going to put that up as a YouTube short. Put it on
Put
X.
a scratch and sniff sticker on that one.
Yes.
And we'll just break glass in case Tyrus runs. Just put it in a little thing.
It'll be on X at Planet Tyrus. We'll be putting it on your feed as well. Yeah. And then the world will know, and then we'll have our 2028 question answered already.
Yeah, maybe you should have a poll. Like, would you vote for Tyrus in 2020? Just for giggles.
Okay, I'll do that. I can absolutely do that.
All right.
You're going to win that poll. I can guarantee you that right now. Oh, one last
I'm
question
not running
before
against anybody.
That's true. You just eliminate your competition. That's what Hillary Clinton does.
Oh, or maybe we set it up. Let's make it fair. Tyrus versus Oscar the Grouch.
Okay. That could be the
Who
poll.
would you vote for?
Absolutely. I have a poll up right today, and I want to ask you this since you brought it up. Is Joe Biden a victim at all?
No, he's not. And because when he has moments of clarity, he should confess to the American people. But what he does is he doubles down. The View, which is a horrible show where people go to throw their career away. And when they asked him the question, he should have said, yeah, I'm not what I once was. And it was my arrogance thinking that I could turn it around. But his wife jumped in, and no. So even when he has moments, he put himself, and that's kind of always been his thing. He mattered more than the American people. He wanted to be president no matter what the cost was. And it was you ask any of those families of those Afghan soldiers, of our soldiers that lost their lives in Afghanistan. Yeah. You ask anybody who's lost a child or a loved one from a murderous illegal alien who should never have been here in the first place, what if they think Joe Biden's a victim?
Yeah,
I think the answer would not surprise a lot of us. No, he's not a victim. And quite frankly, the whole talk of cancer, is being used as an excuse for not finishing the speaking tour, and I'm afraid they're gonna. Which I don't wish cancer on anyone. Obviously, it's a tough disease, but to sit there and try to use that as the reason why he was off, to try to cover up more, to try to offset the little secrets that we already knew in these books and stuff, is I think just as criminal as the behavior that we saw from whomever or whoever was running the government, because he clearly could not function. And those who made those decisions on Afghanistan and the border need to be held accountable legally.
No quarter from Tyrus on Joe Biden. Appreciate that.
No, not a dime, nickel, or a penny.
Tyrus, we love you. Thank you for being.
Not even a
pence. Not even a pence. All right, Tyrus for president. It started here. We're excited to be a part of this big endeavor in your life. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Tyrus, you need to check out one of his books. His first one is just Tyrus. It's great. Check it out. Go get it, and you can listen to it. He narrates it. The follow-up, enough said. You can also check out his comedy tour that goes across the country. If it's coming near you, sign up, get tickets. You will not be disappointed. When we come back, Will Chamberlain is going to join us. I'm going to talk to him about what we were just discussing there. This YouTube live chat poll, is Joe Biden a victim? Depending on who knew what and when, and if Joe Biden was an incapacitated puppet during this administration, is there some sort of legal problem that exists for the people who continued this charade? Plus more, especially the LaMonica Ivor question. Should she get the book thrown at her? Will Chamberlain of the Article 3 Project next.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
ArtisticDex.net, 314-280-0821. You have been thinking about expanding the living space in your house. You probably throw down some lawn chairs in the backyard right now, and you like to enjoy the backyard space, but it's not cozy, it's not comfortable, and you've been thinking about putting a deck on your home. Get your dream deck at an affordable price with ArtisticDex.net. 314-280-0821. They're wonderful people. They're very kind. They're very good at what they do. They've been in business for over 20 years. And when you call them at 314-280-0821, they can offer you free design and consultation, customized, exactly looking at what your specific space might allow, giving you suggestions on how to maximize it with the very best products, the very best materials that you can get. They're insured. You can ask them about their 500 square foot discount. And if you book now with a very small deposit, you can get on the schedule to make sure you get your deck before the end of this summer. 314-280-0821. 314-280-0821. ArtisticDex.net.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. We know the loss and the cost of an accident. Because when an insurance company offers a lowball settlement, we go to war for you and take the fight to the insurance company. Call 314-500-5000.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing: not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how you could build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour Saturday mornings at 6 here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save now with 2024 pricing and Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $1,700 on a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
To have oversight over a facility, and the entire situation was escalated by ICE. They caused the confrontation. Homeland came and, caused this chaos that we see. It was a very tense situation, but it could have been, easily not happened. They had every opportunity to not allow this to happen. It was very unnecessary.
That's LaMonica Ivor, Representative LaMonica Ivor. You could almost listen to her saying this. This is exactly what the January 6 people were saying about people being instigated into confrontation at the Capitol. Those conversations weren't heated by the people on the left. But LaMonica Ivor basically is saying, I can put hands on a federal officer because they did it first. Let's get to somebody who knows the legalities behind this. Let's talk to our friend Will Chamberlain back on the Annie Fry Show, senior counsel at the Article 3 Project. Be sure to follow him on X at Will Chamberlain. Will, welcome back. Good to have you.
Great to be with you, Annie.
LaMonica Ivor, I guess she's been charged now as a felony, as I understand. I've seen some Congresswomen, was it Nancy Mace, who said we want her out of Congress. What is your reaction right now? What kind of legal peril might this Congresswoman be in?
Well, I mean, she's in serious legal peril. She assaulted a federal officer. That's a felony. That's a jail time felony. It's also not something you just plea out of right away. So hopefully she is prosecuted and convicted. She deserves it. She certainly should be expelled. The precedent's already been set. You don't need to convict somebody to expel them when they've been charged with a serious crime, and there's strong evidence to believe they did it. In this case, the evidence is literally all on video. We have it all. Don't need to see anything more. She should be expelled.
So it's to you, it sounds like it's a very simple, if you've got the visual evidence of exactly what occurred there and she committed the crime, she should do the time for that. I'm wondering what you think about how much time has led up to this moment where Democrats have used chaos and, creating some sort of scene. Sometimes it's violent and fiery, mostly peaceful. This has been a political tool that the Democrat Party has used. Is Donald Trump the only thing that's different now that's saying, nope, this isn't how it's going to go anymore? Did you just need a Justice Department that wanted to actually pursue actual justice?
Yeah, that's all you need. You just need the willingness and the will to prosecute crime, to put people in jail who commit crimes, to ignore whatever political argument they're making about why their crimes are just. You just prosecute them. This is not new. The leftists have been doing this for decades. There's a great book called Days of Rage that people should read. Highly recommend that to people, about the left-wing violence in the 1960s and 70s, which was all over the country and brutal and relentless, and didn't finally get stopped until people, prosecutions really ramped up.
So we're speaking with Will Chamberlain right now. I want to get to you here in a second to ask about the implications of what might have occurred during the Biden presidency. I do want to ask you, and I don't know how much you've dug into the story of the two innocent people who were gunned down essentially because they were Jewish by a person who yelled "Free Palestine." Is that connected to the LaMonica Ivor thing? I don't know. But we have created in the United States a place where some sort of ideology trumps all levels of common sense, and has, in these folks' minds, they've been radicalized to think that law and order doesn't apply to them. I'm wondering what you think about that situation in Washington, D.C. and what might happen next.
Yeah, it's an extension of kind of Luigiism, right? If, this is similar to the Luigi Mangione thing, a cold-blooded murder for a political purpose. And that's not going to get stopped without unbelievably forceful and aggressive prosecution. And I think also one other thing to consider, especially in that regard, I think the way to punish that movement and that person is to ensure that his political cause doesn't succeed. His political cause is disgusting as well. This effort to, basically force Israel to suffer from terrorism and ultimately be destroyed itself. So yeah, I think you can look at this guy as an extension of, and it's all part of a broader left-wing movement against against capitalism, against Jews, and against white people. It's all unified into one thing. The same people who are chanting free Palestine and accusing Gaza of genocide will get furious if you suggest that what the South African government is doing to the Afrikaners is genocide, even though those people are just getting murdered and having their land expropriated them because of the color of their skin.
So on point. Will Chamberlain speaking with us right now. So, one of the things that I heard highlighted earlier today, one of the first executive orders that the president signed was to bring back the death penalty. Would that apply in the instance of this situation with these two innocent staffers from the Jewish embassy?
I believe so. I don't know the exact statute, but I'm pretty confident there's effectively a federal hate crime murder statute that says if you murder people for, political reasons, to influence the foreign policy of the United States or something, that's a terroristic murder, and that any federal murder like that can lead to a death penalty charge or a death penalty sentence. I think it's absolutely appropriate in this case, and I just hope this guy gets prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The only thing that really worries me is that maybe there's like a Luigi fan or something, like that's on the jury and hangs it, but I'm confident that under Pam Bondi, this Justice Department will not stop until this guy is rotting in a jail cell awaiting his death sentence.
Yeah, Bondi did say today that he will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So I hope that that's what we end up seeing. I want to shift into there's tons of political fodder over, was Joe Biden actually the president? Was he Weekend at Bernie's? People have been calling this Weekend at Bernie's long into Biden's term of being president. This is not he has cancer, maybe things were off. But my question is, well, our YouTube poll today, is Joe Biden a victim? I don't know what the capacity of his mental state was the entire time. Was he completely managed the whole time? But I have to think that there are people who are culpable, who are involved in making sure that the status quo stayed the same. Is there legal peril in front of these people for what they may have done during the Biden presidency?
It's possible, right? I think the legal peril would stem from essentially the fraudulent wielding of executive power. So if you could prove that, for example, they signed something with the president's name that the president was not aware of, that's a very challenging thing to prove, and it would probably require admissions from a number of people involved. And also the problem is, it seems like it would almost require testimony from Biden himself to say, I didn't do that. And the problem is that testimony wouldn't be reliable because Biden is non compos mentis. So I would say, theoretically, yes, right? Theoretically, improperly wielding the powers of the presidency without the president's permission would be fraudulent, would cause some kind of criminal liability. But proving in a court of law is likely almost impossible.
So I think we spoke to you when the auto pen stuff, that story kind of came out, like, ooh, could the Hunter Biden pardon be negated? And your response was like, so impossible to do what you need to do to prove that potentially that's not a likely outcome here. But what I do hear you saying is that while maybe that auto pen usage, what was done without the president's actual knowledge, if you can't necessarily undo that there still could be consequence for the people who perpetuated it.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, it's a really interesting problem. I'm about halfway through the Tapper Thompson book on the subject of Biden's presidency. And there's a lot of people who are already talking in that book. I think it's worth reading, even though obviously Tapper's doing a bit of it to cover himself, there's some of that. The book itself does contain new information that I haven't seen elsewhere, and new reporting about what was going on internally in the Biden White House. And it's pretty clear that there was the way that Tapper and Thompson describe it as a Politburo, like a group of about 5 people. Biden was one of them, but Steve Ricchetti, Tom Donilon, Ronald Klain, and Bruce Reed. These are 3 out of the 4 longtime Biden aides who've been in with him for decades. And Ron Klain had been with him, went to Obama, and went back to Biden. But they were sort of collectively making decisions. It wasn't clear where the accountability was coming from. They were all able to effectively speak in Biden's name. And there's a lot of discussion about that. So the idea being that it's conceivable that you might get enough evidence about how particular decisions were made, especially if maybe these people turn on each other, who knows? But we might see some truth come out of that. And you can tell there's also, reading this book, you learn about there's some deep resentment among Biden people themselves and among Democrats towards this Politburo. For example, one story is told that Tom Donilon, who's this core White House advisor, Biden wanted him to go to the campaign to help him win in early 2024. And Donilon told him that the price was $4 million. And that's a shocking number in campaign dollars. Like, it may not seem big in like CEO money, but campaigns are unbelievably financially constrained because they can only take, especially in hard dollars, because they can only take $2,300 from anybody. So, the campaign manager on the national Biden campaign was only making $300,000, and Donilon wanted $4 million.
Did he get it?
Got it.
He got it. Gosh.
Yeah.
You say people should read the book. I hear people saying, like, don't buy the book, don't subsidize what Jake Tapper is doing here. But you're saying that there are enlightenments. People have said to me, too, that are kind of trying to cover for Biden a little bit in my personal life. They're like, all presidents have people helping them make decisions. No president just goes to work and makes all the decisions themselves. What's the difference between Donald Trump being surrounded by people like Stephen Miller, maybe, Steve Bannon, who might have his ear, or some of these other folks, his kids, influencing how he might think on something? What's the difference between that and what Joe Biden was doing?
Well, there's no doubt about who's actually in charge. And moreover, that Trump is at the moment perfectly capable of being in charge and running the organization, perfectly capable of rejecting the advice of his advisors. He's clearly, he's doing press conferences routinely. He's regularly talking to the press. He's not hiding. One of the big things that the other revelations from the book that I'm reading is that, from between 23 and 24, at one point, the Biden campaign was going out there after the disastrous debate, and they were trying to get cabinet members and other prominent Democrats, legislators, to go out on TV and be like, he's fine. I've seen him. He's fine. And they'd call these people up and they'd be like, well, I haven't seen Joe Biden in over a year. So how do I know that?
A cabinet member.
Cabinet members, right? Like, they hid him. He was just hidden. You never saw him. And so nobody was willing to go out there and put their word on it after the debate happened. That's not Trump, obviously.
No.
So I think, is Trump, it's interesting. You watch Trump now and you watch maybe some of his speeches when he was like in his 40s, and it's clear he's not as on top of it as he was in his 40s intellectually. Like he's just not, but like that's the natural decline of human beings, like, from your intellectual prime in your 30s and 40s to like when you're kind of older and wiser. You're not as analytically quick, but you can still capable of doing things. That's not what the Biden problem. Biden was actually dementia and not true cognitive decline.
Last quick question for you, Will Chamberlain. In your experience of reading the book, as much as you've completed so far, do you think that Joe Biden understood Joe Biden's limitations?
No, I don't.
Wow.
I do not think he understood his limitations. I think in some abstract sense, he knew that he wanted things to be working during the day and didn't want to be like up and at 'em in the evenings. He knew he probably had lower energy, but man, his memory was failing. He was sundowning, and then in 23, 24, I mean, it was what we saw in that debate, which was a guy who just is slack-jawed and not capable of being the president of the United States, not even remotely close.
Man, lots to be seen yet from the revelations in this book. And Will, we appreciate your insight on this. There's so much going on, and you always give it to us straight. Everybody is commenting how much they appreciate your directness, and we do as well. Thanks, Will. We appreciate you. Take care. Bye-bye. Will Chamberlain on X at Will Chamberlain, a must follow, in my opinion. He is a senior counsel at the Article 3 Project. You can learn more at article3project.org. Quick break. When we come back, Ryan Wiggins back in studio with us. I think we're going to have some time to get to more of like part 2 of Wiggins America. He's covering things that women say that they may not mean. The words may not mean what they actually say. And we'll have a discussion about that. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
TheDiamondShop.net in Clayton. You can go visit them right now. Pick up something wonderful for that graduate in your life. I'm going to just throw this out here right now. If you have somebody who's graduating, I'm talking about to you men. If you have a person in your house who's graduating and they're moving out and mom's taking it kind of hard. You know what I'm talking about. This is a difficult time. I'm talking, my son is a freshman in high school and I know all these senior families and it's an emotional time. I'm suggesting something to you, gentlemen. Go get something to commemorate that graduation for mom and go to the Diamond Shop. It doesn't have to be some magnificent expense. Certainly can be. But go to the Diamond Shop and get something that will show her how much you appreciate her, to show her her accomplishments, to help get this child, your son, your daughter, up to this moment where they're going to be leaving. Commemorate that moment. Yeah, you can get something for graduates, of course. The Movado watches, all watches, are 40% off right now. But everything else is 30% off. So do something that's going to make her smile, that's going to warm her heart, and go to the Diamond Shop to do that. They are a family-owned and operated business. They understand completely this moment in your life. And boy, you want to win some brownie points. Get to the Diamond Shop. TheDiamondShop.net.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 59 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Did you know that 60% of adults over 20 avoid going to the dentist due to deep fear of dental treatment? Knowing that many of our chronic health problems can be directly related to the harmful bacteria in our mouth, not going to the dentist can be very dangerous. Hi, this is Dr. Michael White. I've been helping the dental anxiety patient for over 20 years with anxiety-free sedation. This is very effective and very affordable. Call my office at 314-270-8552. That's 314-270-8552.
The YouTube live chat poll today is short and sweet, but also thought-provoking. Is Joe Biden a victim? Yes, possibly, or no. We gave you the possibly today. Usually we just do yes or no. So let us know what you think about this question. Is Joe Biden a victim? By visiting YouTube and then typing in Annie Fry, today's date, and the live stream will come up. You can comment there as well. 144. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Mark Cox here. Join me at the 2025 Missouri Legislative Review, Thursday, June 5th at the Lodge de Pere. Meet top lawmakers, connect with party leaders and grassroots advocates. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Peace up, A-Town.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
In 2004.
In the year 2004.
Go on. You want to tell? From now on, I'll just say 3 words at the beginning of the segment. You'll do a song.
Okay.
And I'll react to it.
It'll be pretty much that, but in whatever.
You're just going to repeat what I say.
Yeah.
In 2004, me and 3 girlfriends went to West Palm Beach, Florida for spring break.
Sounds hot.
Okay. And we went to actually do less talking for just a second. We went to West Palm Beach because we went to Cardinal spring training for spring break. And we went to Clematis Street in West Palm Beach in the evening, and there's like a bunch of clubs and bars and stuff there. And we were in a bar one time, and they played that song twice in the bar in the amount of time. We might have been in there for 25 minutes. But every bar we went into played Yeah.
Okay.
And that song and Toxic were the 2 huge songs of that year.
Can I just tell you what I would have done in that situation? If I was in a bar on Clematis Street, I would have been asking everybody the same question. Was Clemata you? But it wouldn't have had anything to do with the song, so I probably should have prefaced with that.
That was like when we ended up moving to the next bar. That guy's arrogant.
The guy that's got the one pun.
How many times in your life have you been that guy?
The guy who repels women?
Oh, no. No.
I would
That's
say
not what I meant.
fairly frequently.
That's not what I meant. You landed a wonderful woman, so it wasn't 100% of the time.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it now.
No,
I repel every woman I meet.
Need to do it once. Just got to succeed one time.
Just the guy in the that guy. I don't know. Maybe that's something women say and understand.
I'm not sure, because it's either that I've never really been that guy because that guy is weird, or I'm always that guy and I don't know it. I think it's probably the latter. That I'm always walking up and saying stuff.
I think it's something that women say and understand, because if guys understood it, there wouldn't be that guy.
Yeah. I didn't have any game, but I had a ton of confidence. Let's talk about more of these phrases since we're on the subject anyway.
I'll tell you what, women do appreciate self-awareness.
Do I have that or not?
The fact that you say you don't have any game seems a little self-aware.
Thank you.
Did you know that then, though?
I don't know it now. And we're back.
When will then be now?
Soon. Phrases. These are the rest of Wiggins America. You're getting the leftovers because it's the 1 o'clock hour. See, it's what you get. You should tune in the 12 o'clock hour.
Great. This is just second-rate material. Let's just fill some time. Go on.
These are more phrases that women use that men can't figure out. And they need to be explained by any. How about nothing?
What's the matter?
Could be prefaced with what's the matter. Could be prefaced with anything. It's a lot like fine.
What I think nothing means. So what nothing? If I say nothing, what I probably mean. Now I don't speak for all women, but if I say nothing, what I mean is nothing that I'm wanting to talk to you about right now, because I'm very particular personally on who I'm going to burden with my problems or my frustrations or whatever it might be. So if I say it's a nicer, just like when one of the first questions or words that you said at the beginning was like, I don't want to ruin our friendship. What that really means is I don't like you like that. And if I'm honest with you right now, or if we were to date, I wouldn't like you. And I don't, if we go through that, then it would ruin our friendship. So it means I don't like you, but I do like to be your friend only. So what I think nothing means, and again, as I was saying before, it completely depends on the context of the situation. If you've been having a fight for a week and you walk in the door and she's in the kitchen or something and you say to her, "What's the matter?" And she goes, "Nothing." There's obviously something the matter, and it probably has something to do with you. But if you come home and everything was fine when everybody went to work, and you come home and she is trying to do 5 things at one time and she has an edge about her, and you say, "Whoa, Annie, what's the matter?" And I say, "Nothing." That means I do not want to talk about this right now. I don't have time to stop and break down everything that's happening. Maybe later if the attitude persists. But sometimes I think people just need to have the opportunity to not be like super happy, hunky-dory, you just can't do everything for everyone else. So if something is scratching at you at that one moment, you might just need to have that moment to do it. You can't take it out on everybody else. If you're taking it out on him, he has a right to ask what's going on. But I think nothing means nothing that concerns you right now.
I'll add to that. On the guy's side, one of the greatest things you can do in a marriage is learning when to ask that question.
Yeah.
Because there are times that you already know the answer, and asking it would probably just
You're starting something.
make it worse.
Yeah. Which, like, to the things that we were talking about in the first time at 12:45, and you can check the Annie Fry Show podcast if you want to hear the first part of that. I don't think, and I understand the New York Post is putting an article in here, and there is a level of understood shallowness to that conversation. You got to write 500 words, so on and so forth. Fine.
Whoa.
Whoa. Did you see what she did there? If it's like you said, you have to understand in a relationship the moment, and it's not cool to boil women down to people who never say what they mean or never mean what they say in every context. And that's kind of an easy thing to boil down. Like there is an obvious participation that the man in that relationship has to have to know. Like if you came home and she looked upset about something, if you love her, you're going to want to try to find out what upset her, because you probably are going to see if you can make it better for her. If you told her she looked fat in her dress that morning and you came home and you're like, "What's the matter with you?"
What's your deal?
And she says, "Nothing." You should run.
Or you just assume that it means nothing.
Yeah, but I mean,
women always say what they mean.
That's not at all what I said. Oh, gosh.
What's your deal? Nothing? Cool. Head it out. All right.
If your relationship boils down to you never believing what she truly says, and if she says things to you and you're scared of that, I don't respect that. Like, you need to know, you need to have enough investment into, like, men say as few things, as few words as possible often, just because they don't want to
talk
pretty much about
feelings.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I mean, women have to do some interpretation about, you can read how he is acting or reacting to things. And women need to understand too, a guy's not necessarily going to want to sit down and just like spill the tea with you and talk about their emotions. So women need to respect that as well. And if they say something, if they say everything's fine, to understand that maybe everything isn't fine. And there are other ways you might want to go about making sure that they understand that whatever it is, I'm here for you.
I really am glad that we have time to get to this one. Loud sigh. That's not a phrase, but it is something that communicates something.
Disappointment, frustration.
Is it always, though? Is it possible that you're
Exhaustion.
just sighing? This is a real question.
I take deep breaths a lot, but that's because I'm like in here talking a mile a minute for 3 hours. Like sometimes I need to take a deep breath. For me, a deep breath is I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed. Oftentimes it's something to me, it's a reaction for me to things that are repetitive in nature that frustrate me. And if I decide to go down that road once again to have this conversation, I'm going to be regurgitating a conversation that clearly hasn't manifested itself into a change of behavior or circumstance or outcome. So I go, and I breathe out the conversation that I am choosing not to have.
Okay. No, I'm actually thinking through scenarios when that happens. I know we're on the radio, so we have to talk. How about...
You can only think for 7 seconds at a time.
Yeah, because then the alarms go off. Okay.
I don't know that it matters.
Don't worry. I'll take care of it.
She is mad that you haven't held up, in her opinion, your end of the bargain.
I think that's safe to say. Is there any situation in which that phrase is fine, though?
Sure. Say the phrase again.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Okay. Almost daily, my husband and I have a conversation that happens somewhere in the 10 o'clock hour. After this week, he'll be home, so that might change.
The 10 o'clock hour. We talk like we're in radio.
No, well, I mean, it's the same thing for him. He's a teacher. He has a very scheduled
Oh,
by
yeah,
the clock
that's
to the
true.
minute. His day is regimented by the minute. And so he has a lunch break, and then he has a prep period. So I know that I can call him and talk to him, and I know that it's a limited amount of time because I have to be on the air at noon. He has to be back in front of kids at whatever time it is. So I will call him, and we go, okay, Charlie needs to be at the baseball game at this time, but I need to pick up the girls from practice. But Jensen has track practice, and then she's got basketball practice tonight, and Evelyn wants to go swim at Grandma's house. And then we walk through and say, okay, I'm going to do baseball, and you're going to get Evelyn and get her to Grandma's house. And if it's like, well, the baseball game is at the high school, and that's where Jensen's practice is. And if my husband says, well, I get the girls from school, so I'll get Jensen too. I can be like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of it.
And it's fine.
That's fine. That's why tone and context matters. But if I've had a conversation with somebody and we've said, okay, we're going to do A, B, and C, and you're going to take care of A, I'm going to take care of C, and we'll work together on B. And that person, it gets to the time where it's due. And that person has worked halfway through A, hasn't touched B, and I know that they're not going to get to it. And they say, oh, I'm going to work on it, I'm going to try to get to it. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. If this is a repeat offense, I'm going to be a little frustrated that I have done my part, and now I'm going to have to compensate for it. And it's just a matter of goodwill of like, maybe there was a circumstance that happened that caused A to not be completed. And if that's the case, I understand that, but I'll take care of it.
I'm going to hit this one really quick here.
Can we go another minute?
Mm-hmm. Okay, good, because this is a big one. And this could apply to a marriage or a dating situation, either way. If a woman says, don't worry, he's just a friend.
Ew, no. Don't worry.
You should worry if she says, don't worry.
Listen, folks, you know whether or not, like, you either have implicit trust in your spouse or you don't. And if you have any doubts whatsoever, my husband, okay, I work predominantly in a male field. My husband's a teacher. He works predominantly in a female field. I do not know the names of his colleagues. I do not ask him about those relationships. He has partners that come teach special ed in his classroom or whatever it might be. They're women. He talks to me about them from time to time, like just because the situation happened and included them. There is zero concern. Yeah, I don't ask for details. There's no, but if all of a sudden I became eyebrow raised, or if he was asking me about you guys or other people who work here who are men, the second that I would hear a tone in his voice that he was like asking for a little more information, if I'm innocent, I would be like, what in the world are you talking about? If you're saying don't worry, he's just a friend.
It's already on the line there, right? Don't worry, he's just a friend is already like, whoa.
That means worry. All
Agreed.
right. Annie, are you okay when we come back? And Maha revelations from earlier today. Don't go away.
She said, baby, let's go.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Barry Door and Window, online at barrydoorandwindow.com. You need to call them at 314-423-DOOR. You will be amazed at the skill of the folks at Barry Door and Window, the ones who can customize and achieve exactly the doors that you've been looking for. They could be exterior doors, interior doors, garage doors, whatever you're looking for. This is what they are experts in, delivering you the very best in quality in the St. Louis area. Let me talk to you about the windows and also what you get when you purchase these beautiful quality windows, top quality windows from Barry Door and Window. They are high quality wood. They are high quality vinyl windows that never compromise your dreams. They come with a 5-year window labor warranty. Adding in that labor because of the installation, they come in and they make this, make them happen in your home. The installation from these folks who work specifically for Barry Door and Window. They've got the trust of so many people for so many years in St. Louis. BarryDoorandWindow.com.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
They're still assessing damage and survivors in San Diego. Lisa Brady, Fox News. After the pre-dawn crash of a small plane into a neighborhood of military housing near an airport.
Confirmed 2 dead and 8 injured at this time. We've lost 2 souls.
San Diego Police Chief Travis Easter at a briefing just held says it's still not confirmed how many people were on the plane. Jet fuel running down the road, setting cars on fire. The debris field covers multiple streets with the full extent of damage to homes not yet known. The White House calls for justice after a deadly shooting outside a Jewish museum, killing 2 Israeli embassy staffers in D.C.
Hatred has no place in the United States of America under President Donald Trump.
White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt as the 30-year-old suspect is investigated, shouting "Free Palestine" during his arrest last night. An escalating fight between the Trump administration and Harvard University. The Department of Homeland Security revoking Harvard's ability to enroll international students, accusing the school of creating an unsafe campus by allowing pro-terrorist agitators to assault Jewish students. Harvard calls the move unlawful. Meantime, a federal judge in California blocking the Trump administration from terminating the legal status of international students nationwide as a court fight over previous terminations moves forward. The administration has moved to crack down on disruptive campus protests in a variety of ways, accusing pro-Palestinian protesters of supporting Hamas. The U.S. Supreme Court delivers a blow to religious charter schools.
It was a 4-4 tie on the question of whether a religious school could receive public funding. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett did not participate in the case, meaning the Oklahoma Supreme Court's ruling against the plan to create the nation's first religious charter school will remain in place.
Fox's Jeff Manasso and a federal judge in Boston blocks an effort to shut down the U.S. Education Department, also ordering mass firings to be reversed. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-bill.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Cool temperatures to start the day on this Thursday with a mix of clouds and sunshine. It stays breezy from the northwest. Only 68 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy and chilly. 49 for the overnight low. Friday, sunny and mild, 69. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, clouds control with periods of showers and a couple of thunderstorms, not raining all the time, and it's cool in the 60s. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? Well, you can find out how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You will learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, all of it. And there's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Now, there are a handful of openings for the classes this month and next. Just register by calling 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. It's the Sue Thomas number, 314-947-2012.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original overhead door. The most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
STS-armory.com. If you are in the market for a new firearm in the state of Illinois, you have no better place to go to than Pontoon Beach, Illinois, to see the folks at STS Armory. Katie and Jesse are experts in this field. They understand the law. They understand the implications of new potential laws, maybe things that might be, ruled unconstitutional. They are on the edge of understanding that realm specifically in Illinois. So for Illinois firearm owners, people who want to be firearm owners, you need to get a FOID card. It's complicated. A conceal and carry license. It's complicated. You get experts involved, like Katie and Jesse Johnson, the owners of this family store, STS Armory, and you have people. They're my people. I'd encourage you to make them your people as well. Call them and let them know that you are looking for something in particular, 618-931-GUNS. That's 618-931-GUNS. You can look them up online and learn about the products they have, the services they provide, the classes they instruct, sts-armory.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
See, I just said nothing to Brad. It didn't mean nothing.
But it was a question mark afterwards. Nothing?
Yeah? So that's okay.
No. Well, let's ask Brad.
No. I want to get to this. There's a big story today, the big report. It's a 67-page report that was going to be released from RFK Jr. has been in hearings and stuff. He's been participating in a lot of findings that he has had in his first. He probably hasn't been 122 days in office because he wasn't confirmed that fast.
He's probably not at 100.
Could be. But the findings of what RFK Jr. has been researching, trying to look for, I've said this before. I'm curious what you guys think about this. This is the place where I feel like I have the absolute least information going in and the most curiosity to find out what comes out.
Yes. Although the FBI and the DOJ, I don't know what they're doing either. Although I got a lot more information, like where's this and where's that. You're right. With RFK, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, and I'm really interested to find out what it is.
President Donald Trump's Make America Healthy Again Commission released its anticipated report assessing chronic diseases that have gripped United States youths in recent years, pinning blame for a spike in childhood issues on a host of variables stretching from ingesting foods with added chemicals to an increase in prescribing pharmaceuticals to young kids. So this report coming out today had highlights of an array of things. So that was a Fox News report that I was just reading from. I'm going to read you a Maya Goldman Axios report. It says 5 key takeaways from the Maha Commission report. Isn't like this, the whole thing is wrapped around longevity. And there's an entire concept that has been introduced by RFK Jr. and the Maha movement, which says, I don't know that it's been introduced, but they've been the champions of it, that Big Pharma runs a messaging campaign. And the idea that I have gleaned from it as a student of what is happening, I don't have any expertise in this, and I don't have, this is all much more new to me, which is we have a Big Pharma system that keeps you sick so that they can treat your symptoms. And it never really makes you more healthy. It just makes you potentially have to suffer the consequences of your sickness less when you pay for their product. And they definitely, I don't even know how much I should say about this because I'm saying it out of ignorance. I don't know that this media platform, radio, is as subsidized by Big Pharma as the cable news networks. But you can't watch, I'm looking at our TVs in our room right now to see if it's happening right now, but you can't really watch a commercial break without some sort of like, do you have this? Have you been experiencing that? Mm-hmm. Take this drug. Ask your doctor about blah, blah, blah.
Jardiance is really swell.
Well, you just called out a specific one. But it ends with like, may cause death. And I'm like, I don't know. Is this a solution? I don't know. So here's the key takeaways according to this Axios report. And I feel like the Maha thing is the most interesting just from a 30,000-foot political view, because this is a different, in the Venn diagram world of Kamala Harris affection, the Maha people are not in the Democrat circle or the Republican circle. It's a third circle. And the question is, do they lean more into the Democrat side? Do they lean more into the Republican side? That makes sense why Jillian Michaels was at the press briefing today. It was because of this report. Gosh, if she would have been there when I was there, you would have seen the goofiest looking smile on my face the whole time I was in there.
Would you have had enough confidence to talk to her?
If she would have been in there, yeah. I have this thing where I like have an out-of-body experience where I'm like, you have to do it, you can't. This is like the Blue Angels thing. You have to go do it. You could totally screw it up, but if you don't try right now, you'll always regret it. So I will go up and like offer a compliment or something and then quickly understand if they're like, I don't need to talk to you. Then I take the hint.
I love your sweater.
Top 5 takeaways according to this Axios report. So not a Fox News report. Wanted to go to somewhere that wasn't like just, I'm not throwing Fox News under the bus. I almost said bridge.
Don't throw them under the bridge.
I had this whole thought in my mind that was like, why would you throw somebody under a bridge? That wouldn't even make sense. And I'm like, oh, it's because it's not the phrase.
That's right.
That'll happen in about 1.5 seconds in my brain. Here are the key takeaways according to Axios. Ultra-processed foods. The commission in the first and longest section acknowledges that popular snacks and beverages save Americans time and money but cites research and suggests ultra-processed foods are linked to chronic diseases and says children need more whole foods. Kennedy said, I think everybody wants to prioritize the ultra-processed food crisis and try to reduce our reliance on ultra-processed foods and try to improve the quality of the food. You know, it's important to remember that a lot of the foods that we eat that are ultra-processed are less so in other countries. Same company, same product, different recipe. And it's existing in other places. It could exist here. This to me, is this not at minimum an 80-20 issue? Who's out there like, I will eat ultra-processed food, and my favorite flavor is red dye number 4?
It's weird because you have people who just distrust Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So I think they probably are okay with the overall goal, but they don't like him.
Well, that's the same as Trump.
And that's the same as Trump.
But, I mean, I don't know how many people would take the time to actually advocate for ultra-processed foods. You can look at any food. I don't have any food around me right now. You guys have any food around you? I don't have any food around me to, like, read the label, but everything has got stuff in it that you can't pronounce. And it's like, does that really need to be in there? I don't think that stuff's going to go away. And I don't know how much government involvement is causing that stuff to be in there or not to be in there. That's kind of the interest that I have right now, is how is he going to, if we're like, regulate now. I'm sitting here thinking, but we had a major effort against nicotine at one time. We've regulated how people can consume alcohol because the stuff is bad for you. So, yeah.
It's that we wanted. It's not that we want more regulation. It's that you don't want the people who control the industries also controlling the regulation.
Number 2, chemical exposures. Potential toxins in the environment are a big concern, but the Trump administration is treading lightly. Farm groups are worried ahead of the report's release that it would target pesticides like glyphosate, which are widely used in agriculture. The report says American farmers rely on these products and actions that further regulate or restrict crop protection. Tools beyond risk-based and scientific processes set forth by Congress must involve thoughtful consideration of what is necessary for adequate protection, alternatives, and cost of production. I do think that a huge key in this is going to be like, let's potentially create an environment where alternatives can exist and people can have choice. Number 3, more gold standard science. This is where I think we really need to understand, because right now, Big Pharma, they know what they know. They know what they're doing. We don't know. We've been eating this stuff, honestly, as kids born in the 80s, our whole lives. I think it's gotten worse in our lifetime, but our parents and our grandparents grew up with food that came from the farms that they were living on. Fresh foods. If you went to the supermarket, it was locally sourced. They lived a different experiences. Like, if you go to Europe, you can eat the same kind of foods over there that you eat here. They're made differently. They're healthier. So gold standard science to me is going to empower American individuals to have scientific information that suggests, red dye number 5 is bad, but why? What is red dye? If I'm like, no, I love maraschino cherries. If I decide to eat that, what is that doing to my body? And give me the scientific evidence to prove it. The report also portrays research on nope. Yeah, that's right. Also portrays research on chemical exposure and chronic disease as a necessary competitive advantage for the United States. Understanding potential links between chemical exposure and chronic illness cannot happen through a European regulatory system that stifles growth. Rather, it should happen through science done by the federal government and, quote, through unleashing private sector innovation. And if you were listening yesterday, that sounds like our conversation with Senator Talon, where we need to let the private sector, in this case, literally cook. Number 4, overuse of medicine. The commission calls out kids' over-medicalization and continues to cast doubt on childhood vaccines. It cites a 1,400% increase in antidepressant prescriptions for American adolescents between 1987 and 2014, as well as increased prescribing of stimulants, antibiotics, and asthma drugs. Long-term research on the impact of commonly used drugs for kids is limited, but there are, quote, contributory human data that raise important questions, end quote, about antidepressant stimulants and other treatments, the report says. The commission also questions the current U.S. childhood vaccine protocol and says vaccines would benefit from, quote, more rigorous clinical trial designs. Vaccines are already studied in large trials and subject to ongoing safety surveillance. For instance, lots of antidepressants being prescribed to kids, lots of stimulants being prescribed to kids, lots of conditions that kids have that have a medicinal solution that your pediatrician can give you. Let me just say for a second, maybe kids are more depressed. Maybe kids are more distracted. Maybe it has to do with the food they're eating. Maybe it has to do with the lifestyles they're living. We, as children, pre-internet children, that all of us in this room were, our childhoods do not look the same as my kid's childhood. The access to stimulus that my children have without ever leaving the house, it's mind-blowing. Do you remember sitting at home, like in the summer? TV sucks during the day. You get past The Price is Right, and it's like, what do you even do with yourself? We gonna take a nap? So you went outside and you played. What did you play? I don't know. Some crap you made up that afternoon, and you'd go make up something the next day. But you went outside, you got vitamin D, you exercised, you were mobile, you energized and utilized your imagination in your brain, and you did that until mom and dad got home from work or until you had to go to the next thing. You maybe came home when it was dark. Kids don't do that today. What do? They sit and they look at screens, and oftentimes they look at social media that tells them that they're not as good as the people who they're seeing. As an adult who will scroll through social media, I will look at other people's lives and realize subconsciously I have, for however long I've been scrolling, comparing my life to the people whose lives I'm consuming. I don't hate those people. I don't dislike those people. But I realize after going for a while, I'm like, I don't really feel better for having been here and done this. And our kids are doing that in their formative years when, gosh, guys, middle school is the suckiest time of your life without the internet. And then you put in you never unplug these kids from communicating with one another. Everybody is always at the ready to be communicated with. And if it's always possible for children to be talked to by their friends, that means if they're not being talked to by their friends, at any point in their waking day, they are wondering to themselves why that is. If they're constantly plugged in, how is it that these kids can go outside and play in the dirt? Or go be in a place where they might be able to get in a little good trouble? Does all of that lead to the point where the kids are like, gosh, I just feel really sad a lot, and I'm tired, and I can't pay attention to things? It's because we're not our brains are turning to mush. I feel that in my own life, and I got a lot going on to juggle. So I think that it's like, I want to know how much is our food system kicking our butts. I want to know that. Like, how much is it setting us back? But it might be if, we're facing, I think adults certainly have stressors and anxiety and stuff that they're medicating. How much of that adults are facing, but also that kids are facing, what percentage of it is the chemicals we're putting in our body that are altering the vaccines that maybe we're taking, the COVID one included? How much is that chemically altering our body and our ability to function the way God made us to function? And how much of it is the fact that we have gotten so apathetic about using our bodies and our brains to play, to have fun, to exercise? And, I'm not talking, like, if you think about exercise, like a lot of people will be like, oh, I was on the treadmill and I watched, you watch an hour of Real Housewives or an hour of the cable news, your favorite cable news primetime show or something like that. Like, that's not exercise. That is torture. To stand on a treadmill, to go literally nowhere while you consume a screen, just go walk outside in the sun for 10 minutes. Isn't that going to do you as much, if not more good, than being inside a room slaving away day after day on a treadmill? Like, we're just so upside down. We're subsidizing our laziness with media. And by media, I mean like a medium, a screen, a TV in a gym, or you've got your phone on you and you're texting while you're taking a walk or something like that. It's like, How much good does it do you to walk outside in the sun? And I'm going to say it, raw dog that walk. Every time I do this, guys. Listen, it's a new phrase. It's a new trendy phrase that the kids are saying on their crappy social media platforms.
It means naked.
No, no.
Don't do that.
No, it doesn't.
That's how you go to jail.
That's not it. It means something else, but it also means something else.
I misunderstood.
Google it on your computer.
Raw dog walking.
Just think about the way God made us to be. We have run away from that, hidden in a cave, but we're okay because we are playing Candy Crush.
The internet agrees with you.
I know, of course it does.
Raw dogging a walk in this context means completing a walk without the typical buffers or conveniences such as music, podcasts, or fitness trackers.
Oh, see, it doesn't like people are like, that's not what it means. And I'm here to say what you think it means is not the only thing. I'm not saying you're wrong about what you think that phrase means. I'm just saying it now means more things than that.
Yeah, but you know who told me that? The internet. And you just told me that the internet is evil. So it doesn't mean anything.
Well, just more proof that what I say isn't always what I mean.
Fine.
Fine.
Go ahead.
Nothing. Don't worry. I'll take care of it.
Like the next segment? No, that's Trisha's.
These are callbacks that if you're listening right now, you're like, what are they doing?
This is the weirdest
They're
argument
saying
I've ever
non
heard.
sequitur things.
All things women say, and do they really mean what they say? I say it depends on the context. We're going to get Trisha in here. Annie, are you okay? Next on the Annie Fry Show, at the 2:45 segment, we are going to discuss the YouTube live chat poll. We need your comments. Is Joe Biden a victim? Is it even possible that he is a victim? Janine commented, I want to say yes and no. It is more complicated if you think about it a little bit. Trisha, get in here. We'll be right back.
I love you, Red Solo Cup.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
CiviaLaw.com. You need to reach out to them, and you need to do it right now, and you could save money. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. Missouri and Illinois alike. They have multiple offices in each state. Your estate planning needs, whether you have powers of attorney established or you don't, whether you have a living will established or you don't, you need to have it looked at by Civia Law. And they are making a commitment to the Annie Fry Show audience right now. The first 10 listeners to call right now at 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. The first 10 callers get a free strategy session, which means you get to have that initial conversation with Todd Civia and the Civia Law team without having to pay that $300 value. I think that's a pretty awesome opportunity, and I'm grateful that Todd Civia has extended that to you as a listener of this show. Make sure that you navigate these transitions through life, not after the fact when you wish that you would have done it sooner. Sit down and have this conversation with Todd Civia and get ahead of the game. You'll have the peace of mind. It's just priceless after you do. 833-995-WILL. Mention the Annie Fry Show to get that free strategy session. CiviaLaw.com.
Retirement statements just hit mailboxes, and for many, the shock is real. Some investors lost 20% or more in just the first quarter. If you're close to retirement, that's more than a dip. It's a danger. But here's what most advisors won't tell you. Gold was up over 30% during the same time. That's a 60% swing. And in retirement, that kind of gap can change everything. So compare your Q1 statement to gold's performance. Then call Noble Gold Investments. Noble Gold specializes in helping people protect what they've earned with real assets like gold and silver. If you're tired of watching your nest egg shrink, it may be time for a change. And right now, when you open a qualified account, you'll receive a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar. Compare and call 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. Or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
College holds a mythic place in American culture. But there are stories you won't hear on the campus tours.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything from rigged admissions to the drama of Greek life and student protests. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
And a lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
The warm weather may have you thinking about your backyard. Let's make it better this year with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mention my name, Mark Cox, and get their special discount of the month for May, 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Now, they do free in-home estimates, no obligation, free project design. They've got an extensive digital photo gallery of completed projects if you don't have something specific in mind. They can do beautiful wood or vinyl fencing, same with their decks. Those vinyl decks are maintenance-free, and they're fantastic. And, of course, maybe you're considering a custom sunroom, a custom screen room, pergolas, patios, retaining walls. They can do it all, and having their sign in your yard is a sign that you have the very best. Be sure and check them out online and tell them that Mark Cox sent you so you can get that 48 months interest-free financing. Go to chesterfieldfence.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
And now it's time to play Is Annie Okay With This?
Hi, Trisha.
Hi, Annie and crew. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Trisha.
Hey.
Hi.
It's
Hi,
me, Ryan.
Crew. Hey, crew.
Hey.
Ryan, crew member.
Hi.
Member Ryan. Hi, Annie. Newspaper summer book list recommends non-existent books. The content distributor
I'll
King
read them.
Features says it has fired a writer who used AI to produce a story on summer reading that contained books that do not exist.
The good news here is that somebody read it and realized it.
Yeah, because that's happening everywhere.
If you put something out that's AI and it's got a bunch of nonsense in it and nobody ever tells you, like if you published it,
That's a bit embarrassing.
then you're
Yeah.
like, I guess it really doesn't matter.
Well, this list appeared in Sunday's Chicago Sun-Times and the
Oh.
Philadelphia Inquirer before somebody caught it. More than half of the books on the list were fake, and the author admitted to using AI and not double-checking. Annie,
Oof.
are you okay with book club?
Book clubs? Yeah. For other people, yes.
You wouldn't be in a book club, summer reading club.
Do I have to read?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to read and talk about what you read about.
Share your feelings about it.
Guys. Yeah, go ahead.
You should read some of the books that are in that article.
Half of them.
There are 50% of those that I would commit to. No. Guys, okay, listen. There are book club people, and there are not book club people. And I don't know how long you've been listening to the show, but it should be pretty easy to understand which one of those.
You have time.
I don't know.
With all your downtime.
No. Let's pretend for a second, because that's all I have, that I had time. I'd rather not. I'd rather sleep or watch a movie or sit outside or do manual labor. There is zero about a book club that interests me. What? Were you going to say something?
No, I was just wondering what you thought about the book Where the Red Fern Grows.
I did read. That's one I read.
I had to read that one too.
Very sad.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't know that I've ever actually read it. The only ones I read in high school were 1984 and Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies, yes. It's a moment. It's like that's a fork in the road for most people. Freshman year. Great conversation, guys.
More than half.
We're good at this.
Would you be in a book club?
I don't know. If I had a ton of time. No, I don't think I would.
So don't judge me. Why don't you?
Might.
Why don't you judge me? I know. Why would you not want to be in a book club?
It sounds kind of boring. It sounds like people talking about their feelings, even though I know that's not what it is. It's people talking about the book. But I don't know.
It sounds like class to me, and I'm over that. Brad, book club?
No, it would be like lit class all over again.
Trish?
Yeah, I think they're great.
Really?
Yeah,
I do. Are you in one?
I was for a while, but I wasn't attending the meetings frequently enough,
Why?
so I got
It was
kicked
boring?
out. No, because they
Did
were.
you get kicked out of book club?
It demanded.
Go
I
on.
did actually get kicked out of book club.
They told you couldn't come back?
They just quit inviting me.
Do you want to be in? Do you want to be? How about? I feel sorry for you. You can be in our book club.
Thank you so much.
Also, you're breaking the first rule of book club.
Talking about
Don't
book
talk
club?
about book club.
Yeah.
I thought it was not going.
But there is a book club at my local library that I want to go to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think they're cool.
Is it because it's a particular book, or is it just that you like the idea?
It's because I've already read the book they're doing this month.
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like easy. More than half of parents still help adult children financially. That's according to a survey of 1,001 U.S. parents conducted by Savings.com. 83% of those polled contribute to their adult kids' monthly groceries. 65% help with cell phones. 65% that is help with cell phones.
Does that mean paying for them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I am on my mom's phone plan. She has a sweet deal. She tells us every month how much we owe, and I pay her back.
Oh yeah, that doesn't count.
That's not the same.
No.
I'm paying my mom instead of paying
We do the same
T-Mobile.
thing.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. But we pay him back, so.
You're on our family plan? That tracks.
Your dad invited me.
Plan is sweet.
Big fan.
Dad?
You know who would be great on our phone plan? You know Ryan Wiggins from Annie's show? Let's invite him.
I believe it.
That was kind of an impersonation
believe
of your
it.
dad that wasn't very good.
Yeah, that's exactly how he doesn't sound. Okay, so here's another question. You're going to take out a loan for a car, and your parents can loan you the money. They've got it. They can loan it to you. They're going to charge you less interest or maybe no interest, and they're happy to help. Does that qualify for what they're saying here?
No.
You're paying them back
No.
over time.
No, that does not count.
They're okay. This is them buying your groceries because you're a loner bum.
This is. I don't know if I go that far.
You losers.
This is saying the average.
I'm talking in code.
The average support
girls
per
do.
adult child was $1,474 a month, up 6% compared to last year. So, of these people polled, no, this isn't like a loan or get a good deal because you're sharing a plan situation.
This is you wanted beans and fudge bars, and you're like, Dad.
Dino Nuggies.
You were a total bum about it.
I think that I would. My goal as a parent, I will say even as a grandparent, would be to be able to help my children and grandchildren. But that's not in place of their
being self-sufficient.
independence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I think that our generation specifically has been labeled as like these freeloaders that don't have a work ethic or whatever. It's fun now that Gen Z is like in the workforce because millennials are kind of off of that now. So it's like, okay, now we can crap on the Gen Z, which the Gen Z people I know, they're good workers. But I think that this freeloading idea that is commonplace right now it makes it hard to, like, if you have parents or grandparents that want to help pay for maybe some college or help send a kid to a camp or something like that, that you should be able to take that. And if that's what they want to do to help, that's fine. But they can't take the place of you contributing to society and making a paycheck. Maybe your paycheck doesn't go as far as you need it to do, but if you're working your butt off, I think any type of familial help, that's what we need in the country. is if you need help within your family financially, instead of going to the government and taking money out of my family when I don't know who you are, if you have family help that can be provided, that is actually where it should come from. And your family can judge whether you're a loser bum and subsidize your
You
life.
say that, but there's two words that would change your mind, and that's Game Genie. If you get Game Genie, you can put that on all your Nintendo games. You can play them all over again.
That
it's
is
like
a deep cut.
Completely new game.
If I had 1 trillion guesses as to what you were going to talk about, I would need 1,000,000,001 for a shot at saying Game Genie.
We needed just a couple more years on the family basement to figure out how to beat all these games. Now
If you
that I got
start
the Game
living in
Genie.
my dad's basement,
The invitation is not there. I want you to know that. But if it is, I would talk to Katie about it.
Look how much money we could save.
You would talk to your wife.
I would talk to my wife about living in your parents' basement.
Because Katie is also my sister's name.
Right.
Why are you talking to her? She's going to be like, who are you? What are you doing?
This is Ryan. Who?
She's just a friend.
Can I live in mom and dad's
We're
basement?
basically family.
Hey, it's me, Wiggins. So, Annie, are you okay with parents helping adult children financially?
Yes. And it's up to, if it's their money and they want to subsidize their bum of a kid, I'd rather it come from their money than mine. It's up to you. It becomes my problem when maybe the bummification of people is genetic and everybody's leeching off of other people's families who are making money. Said what I said.
California man who used underwater scooter in lake to try to evade arrest finally pleads guilty to fraud. The arrest took place in
Underwater scooter.
Yeah, this one's a little convoluted. Bear with me here.
Okay.
The arrest took place in November 2020 when the man led them on a car chase before dumping his vehicle and fleeing into a lake with a Yamaha Sea scooter. He spent some time
Yamaha. Absolutely not.
He spent some time out of sight where law enforcement could only see bubbles.
This is a cartoon.
Is the fraud that it didn't work and he died?
And then not just bubbles, but
stopped.
there was also this strange white red striped straw that was sticking out while he was going and going.
It's a periscope with an eye.
That's how you breathe when you're moving through the reeds in a lake in a cartoon.
We all know.
Yeah.
We all know exactly what you're talking about.
And when you use the periscope, it's actually your eyeball at the top.
That's right. That's how it works.
I approve. This is great.
He emerged about 20 minutes later and was arrested because they could follow him. He was only able to go about 4 miles per hour, so they just watched him go around this lake. Now he's pleading guilty to
I
money.
wouldn't stop him. Wouldn't you want to be like, let's see how this turns out?
Like,
Yeah, especially in a lake. If it was a river, I'd be like, uh-oh.
These problems might resolve themselves.
In a lake, you just watch it. You just watch it happen. It's not a big lake.
It's a pond.
So now he's pleading guilty to money laundering and witness tampering in connection with a $35 million investment fraud scheme.
Whoa,
So
the crimes just got very different.
he's a bad criminal all around.
Sounds like
He's just
James
getting
Bond.
caught. Annie, are you okay with water skiing?
No. No. Do you know why? I've told this story before. The last time I went skiing, and I've never successfully skied.
Water skiing or regular skiing?
I've never gone snow skiing, not interested in that.
It's not great.
Threat to gravity
Yeah,
either.
it's not great.
I was trying to water ski. My husband's family, they would boat. And they had a boat, and when I first started dating them, they had a ski boat. We would go to Arkansas, beautiful lakes down there, beautiful area. They were skiers, and Jared was a really good skier. It was super annoying. And so they're like, oh, Annie, let's go ski. I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, I can do this. It's not easy to ski, to water ski. You got to learn how to get on the skis and keep your balance and all that stuff. So it's going to take a little bit to try to figure that out, right?
And those boat people, I'm sorry to interrupt, those boat people think you should just know. They're like,
Yeah.
get on out there.
Yeah, those boat people. My
That
family's
boat is
listening right
really
now.
far
Going,
away,
I
too.
love you guys, but everybody thinks everybody can ski.
well, my father-in-law was driving the boat, and he was probably the nicest to me. But there is always this maniacal chuckle that was taking place before you'd start off. And everybody knows the boat driver maniacal chuckle, especially if there's a tube connected to the boat, which I would do tubing. Growing, that's a whole different story. I'm laying there in Lake Ouachita, I think, in Arkansas, skis up, skis out, put them in a V, holding on, getting ready to say go. And while I'm just floating there in the water, something slithered up my entire leg, up my head, and I go, and they start going. So naturally, I don't know what I'm doing. I go forward from like sitting back to forward, dragging behind the boat away from whatever the hell that thing was.
Manatee.
And I never, it was, if it were a manatee, we would have been friends. That was not a manatee. No. That was Methuselah or something under the water in this lake. The amount of things that could have been sliming up my leg. I am never getting in a lake again. No. I love being on the lake. I love being in the boat on the lake. There is no more of that. I had I dragged behind that boat. I don't know how long, but it might have been hundreds of yards. Get me out of here. Just take the boat.
Wait, you were not on your skis.
No,
but you were
I was dragging behind the boat.
Just hanging onto the rope.
To get away from a cute dolphin, which is what that was.
They were like, let go. And I'm like, I can't.
It's out here. I'm not alone.
It's too dangerous.
I can't do it. Faster.
And that was the last time that I tried to ski.
It's probably just a little moss on a log or something.
False. No, it was like.
Really?
When it went past me, yeah.
Did it bite you?
No,
Is it a jellyfish?
but that's because I got out of the way because I did the smart thing and I held on for lots of time.
I always just assume it's a jellyfish, and then I treat it as such.
Lake Ouachita in Arkansas.
I'll go around to people
not
on the
skiing.
beach and just ask them if they were stung by a jellyfish just so I can help.
Jet skiing, super fun. Won't get in the water to get on the jet ski. Have you ever tried to get on the jet ski? Have you ever tried in the middle of a lake to get on a jet ski with 3 people, of which the other 2 are your siblings? We almost died that day at the hands of each other. And I remember my parents were in the boat like, there's really no way to help them.
No, there's nothing you can do.
Which one? It's like they start casting lots and taking bets like, who's going to come out of this? That was a rough day. If they heard this, they would know. They know exactly what I was talking about. Jet skiing, fun. Not getting in the water to do
Water skiing.
I went snow skiing twice in high school. Both times I thought I was awesome.
Dolphins?
Looked back at the pictures, and I was surrounded by dolphins.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
This was in the 70s.
This was bad. This was the late 60s.
a lot of
We were listening
mushrooms involved in
We
this.
were listening
as
to the
well.
Doors, and I was like, "Dang, I am skiing."
Dolphins? Have you seen?
I think we were in Florida, and I was like, "This is the best snow I've ever seen."
Snow.
The actual story is that I would look back at the pictures from that trip and think, "Oh man, I looked awesome," because I was going off ramps and stuff. And I looked back at some
They
of the
weren't
ramp
pictures of
pictures. I was just going over hills, but I felt awesome. It felt like I was conquering
Ryan,
the mountain.
sometimes that's enough. Trisha, thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was a good one.
It's been fun.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will discuss, is Joe Biden a victim? Yes, possibly, or no? Let us know what you think. Annie Fry YouTube channel. Back in a minute.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
The Retirement Advisory Group, you find them online at retirementkey.com. I want you to know that when you call 314-993-9494, that's 314-993-9494, you are going to be connected with people who can help you transition out of working into retirement. They know exactly how to specialize on this specific group of people. There's a lot of retirement planning that takes place. And, of course, retirement savings starts early in the career. But if you are at that point where you're like, gosh, I'm ready to be done here. Maybe you know that there's something happening in your career that's going to shift. It's going to change. And you're like, gosh, I don't want to have to move into this new department or take on this new role or whatever it might be. I wonder if I can retire right now. And then, maybe what you end up doing is going and cutting grass on a golf course or something for fun. What do you need to do in order to make that happen? Can you make that happen? The Retirement Advisory Group can guide you. 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494 at retirementkey.com.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Find out why Renewal by Andersen has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. rbastl.com or 314-332-1924.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Is Joe Biden a victim? That's today's YouTube live chat poll. And if so, a victim of what? Circumstance? It's really up to you. Yes, possibly, or no, or the deep state. It could be anything. Is Joe Biden a victim? YouTube live chat poll. Let us know what you think. We will give you the results of this poll in just a couple minutes. 2:48. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
And I'll make you smile like a drug for you. Do ever what you want to do, coming over you. Keep on smiling what we go through. One stop to the rhythm that divides you. And I speak to you like
All right, so the YouTube live chat poll for today is Joe Biden a victim? Ryan, you said at the beginning of the show that you thought this was an interesting question.
It is an interesting question because you can interpret it a lot of different ways. Here is the way that I would answer this question. Is Joe Biden a victim? Let's go back 10 years, 15 years, when Joe Biden had more of his faculties. If you had approached him then and said, look, here's the deal, my man. You are going to start to really lose your mind. You're going to get dementia or whatever the diagnosis is, but you're not going to have it. But you will be the president. Basically, everybody else around you will be running it, though. Would you take it? I really believe he would say, well, if all things being equal, if I have to be, in that situation, yeah, I'd still take it, even though I'm not running things. That, to me, is who Joe Biden is at his core, and therefore he is not a victim. I think he would be okay with this circumstance.
You think he'd be okay being
the puppet?
The puppet.
Yes.
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay.
I think that who Joe Biden at his core and what he is concerned about is his family name and his legacy. Now, there's a whole bunch of slimy stuff that goes underneath it, but he wanted to keep that name and legacy shiny and amazing.
Well, let me interrupt here, Ryan. What do you think that his legacy is now?
Well, his going into it, he wouldn't have known that his legacy would become
No,
this
I'm not
weird,
asking about that. I'm saying right now, May 2025, what's his legacy?
failed president. However, his motivation to me would still be that, yeah, but I get to be president. And that would be enough for him to say, that's a fantastic legacy.
I think it's also the head of a disaster of a family. I would add that on to there. And I think he would hate that so much. I would vote yes on this poll. I think he is a victim. I think you can want something so bad that you allow yourself to be taken advantage of. And I think people all around him took advantage of him, from Jill to Hunter to the people that were in the administration that were actually running the administration, even if those are some of the same people. I think that, like Will Chamberlain said, he didn't have his faculties. He didn't know how bad he was, so he thought he was in charge. He thought he was in control, but he wasn't actually anywhere in control. And, you get that Jill Biden, what she do? She puts her hand on his arm, and it's all right, Joe. You get that hand on his arm, and he's like, I'm doing a good job. And then they go do whatever they want on the back end. Mike Johnson talked about that, how he had to show Joe Biden what the executive order actually was because he didn't believe that's what the order was when he signed it. Stopping natural gas shipments or something along those lines. I think that he was taken advantage of. I don't have sympathy for him, but I definitely think that his life caught up to him, and he took advantage of people his whole life, and now people took advantage of him.
My whole life, I've been hearing people talk about Carter's presidency and how he was the worst president ever. I also have heard people say that they thought Jimmy Carter was a good person and that his policies were so terrible for the country. We had a comment here. Just let me pull that back up. Doug said, Biden is both a terrible politician and a terrible person. And then another comment here. Let me find it. I should have highlighted it. The idea of what his legacy is, Frank says he will go down as the worst and most embarrassing president in United States history. And I think that saying the word embarrassing in there really keys in on what the Biden legacy is going to be. Because Jimmy Carter, this is my assessment. Molly's favorite question to ask people right now is, who was president when you were born? I have 4 kids. They were all born during Democratic presidencies. You'd have thought I would have hit Trump in there somewhere. Nope. Evelyn was born in May of 2016. She's like, but it's 2016. I'm like, just, you can think whatever you want to think. But if I wasn't alive during the Carter years. It's only something that I've been able to hear other people talk about or read about. And when Joe Biden, when his presidency wraps, and you look that his presidency, let's say it this way, his presidency was more effective at advancing the far left progressive agenda. You might say that he was more successful in the fundamental transformation of the United States. His administration was more successful at that potentially than even Obama. When you calculate in that the only way that they could get this done was to elect somebody who was on his way to being senile, who was sick, who in the debates was obviously not within his, the mental capacity that you would hope that somebody in that position would have. Not even close. Not even close. He said weird things, but the other true tell sign of where he was mentally, he used emotion and like faux rage to try to affect his points. If you think about Donald Trump when he's speaking, whether he's making jokes, making fun, talking about something serious, he's always Donald Trump about it. He doesn't look into the camera and shake his finger at people and get mad at them. He doesn't use emotion to make points or to get things done. He figures out what needs to be done, and then he tries to make a plan to get there. Everything Joe Biden did in his presentation as a president, as limited as it was, when people would ask him questions that were challenging in any way, shape, or form, he insulted people. He was actually mean to people who were asking him questions. Like the old, when people talk about the get off my lawn guy, you have a picture of like an old guy who's sitting on his porch in his plaid shirt and suspenders, shaking his cane at the kids who accidentally stepped on their lawn when they, stopped their bike and their foot, get off my lawn, kids, blah, 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 blah. That's really what Joe Biden was. Nobody's going to the guy sitting on his porch yelling, get off my lawn, to like, how should we handle the conflict in the Middle East? Nobody's doing that. So I think possibly, I'm going to say this, I think possibly Joe Biden is a victim here. Just because he's a victim, that doesn't negate any sort of participation that he has, any sort of responsibility that he bears, consequence that he might have to face in the future. People talk about, and I have been saying for a very long time, that what Jill Biden has done here is, if she was a willful, knowledgeable participant in this, that to me is treasonous. That she participated in this for some sort of fantasy that she had. She was willing to put the country at risk for this. Villain number one. I think it's possible that Joe Biden has been a victim here, but not one in any way, shape, or form that lets him off the hook. Do you want to answer this real quick?
Possibly. I would stick into possibly for that reason. It doesn't excuse the decisions and the way he went about some things, but I think you said it really well right there. 252 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Was Joe Biden a victim? Pretty well split apart today. 19% say yes, 27% say possibly, and 54% say that no, he was not a victim.
I was watching this as the show was going on, and for a while, no was 49%, and I thought it was interesting, and that's the way it kind of shook out. It's about half and half. Thanks for being here. Don't go away. Mark Reardon's next.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the bagel loan. The special thing specifically about getting a bagel loan for that mortgage, the new mortgage or the refinance, even the cash out refinance, the special thing about that, and you can only get a bagel loan at Stewart's American Mortgage, is that you don't pay any closing costs. You know, closing costs can amount to thousands of dollars. Why would you pay? I don't know why you would pay thousands of dollars to get your mortgage somewhere else. Oftentimes people will be recommended to go, okay, this is my mortgage guy. So you kind of just go through the motions and you go with that person. Check and see what they can do for you. But also get a second opinion. Reach out to 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. And talk to Stewie about what he can do for you. If he's the best deal, obviously, go with Stewie. If he's not, he'll do everything he can for you. You can make an educated decision yourself. But if you're looking for an opportunity to get that mortgage, that new mortgage, or that refinance, and pay $0 in closing costs, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test